is a registered investment advisor. Now,
Business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. I'm certified financial planner John White with your afternoon business report. The major averages climbed higher to kick off the shortened holiday week as investors assessed reports the United States and Iran agreed to stop the attacks that broke out over the weekend, enabling peace talks to continue. Its shares of Charter Communications jumped 9% following a report that said the company and SpaceX have held exclusive talks on a consumer phone product. Charter could run some of SpaceX's consumer mobile traffic through its ground internet infrastructure. Minutes before the close, the Dow was up 309 points, the S&P 500 is up 82 points, and the Nasdaq is up 513 points. From Creative Planning, I'm John White.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
77 years ago,
I am a real American.
Ask not what your country can do for you.
Fight for the rights of every man.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
I am a real American.
I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Fight for the rights of every man.
We will make America proud again.
I am a real American.
We will make America safe again.
Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
And we will make America great again. Happy birthday, America. Just a few days from this country's 250th, we are live on the Dan O'Donnell Show with another 3 hours. Salute to the greatness of this country and another 3-hour foray into broadcast mediocrity, or what we call broadcast competence, if not broadcast excellence. Welcome to another busy broadcast week. If you would like to join us, 414-799-1130 on the Carpetland USA Talk and text line. Email always open, dod@iheartmedia.com. Watch the show. We are streaming live via the DanoCam on Facebook, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Instagram, on YouTube as well. Please do subscribe, download, and listen to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you miss a single second of today's conservative thought and not just talk, each and every day this week, we are saluting this country. Historical lessons. We are doing today an objective proof that America is the greatest place on earth, regardless of what the ascendant socialists within the Democrat Party might have you believe. I objectively, using the data, can prove that America is the greatest country on earth. Not was the greatest country on earth, is currently, in every aspect that makes a nation great. America leads the world. I can prove it. You will hear that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We are also going to give you a chance to win $2,500 in our UFC. We're going to make you fight a UFC fight in order to win $2,500. Seems like a bad deal, but it is for my entertainment. In the USA 250K. I keep thinking USA, UFC 250. What a great kickoff to America's birthday on Flag Day, June 14th. We have had an incredible ongoing celebration with the World Cup. Yes, for the last couple of days, last Thursday and Friday, I took the kids. It was my son's graduation present, and I had promised them that if the World Cup ever comes back to the United States, that we would be going. Wouldn't you know it? It just happened to coincide with his high school graduation year, so I took the 3 children to go see the United States in a truly inexplicable, heartbreaking loss to Turkey that ultimately didn't mean anything. The U.S. is still moving on to the round of 32. They're going to play Bosnia and Herzegovina coming up on Wednesday night. An exciting match today as the World Cup's round of 32 continues with Brazil and Japan. As always, no spoilers whatsoever on this show. I can't promise that you aren't going to get spoiled if you are recording any of today's matches to play back later. I can't promise that during the commercial breaks, the iHeartMedia World Cup updates aren't going to spoil you, but you will not hear a single spoiler on this program. Spoiler alert, ballot fraud is apparently the order of the day. The United States Supreme Court today ruling 5-4 in Watson v. Republican National Committee that upheld Mississippi's law. It's a grace period, if you will, that allows mail-in and absentee ballots that are postmarked by Election Day, but received up to 5 days later to still be counted in federal elections. Now, if I gave you a list of all of the conservative justices and you had to pick two that would have gone and sided with the court's three liberals, which two would you have picked? You're saying John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett? That would be entirely correct. Roberts and Barrett, who actually wrote the opinion of the court, joined the court's three liberals in completely tossing out any semblance of constitutional governance or adherence to the rule of law. In fact, Election Day is set by federal law. 2 U.S. Code Section 7. It provided for the date of federal elections for the House of Representatives back in 1875. Remember, under what's known as the Elections Clause of the Constitution, the Congress has the power to set the times, manner, and places of elections in conjunction with the states. The states ultimately administer the elections, but Congress is responsible for determining the process by which all federal elections are held. And federal elections are held not on election month, not on election week, but on election day. 2 U.S. Code Section 7. The Tuesday next after the first Monday in November in every even-numbered year is established as the day for the election in each of the states and territories of the United States of representatives and delegates to the Congress commencing on the third day of January next thereafter. What that means in plain English, every federal election in an even-numbered year where we elect every single member of the House of Representatives is to take place the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Election Day very clearly means a day. When Election Day is over, the election is over. 2 U.S. Code Section 1 essentially ties Senate elections. Remember, we didn't initially directly elect senators in this country. State legislatures, which were elected by the people, would appoint U.S. senators. But once we had the direct election of senators, federal law basically made Senate elections tied directly to House elections. 3 U.S. Code Section 1, it was called the Presidential Election Act. That determines the day of the presidential election, same Tuesday, first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Now, those statutes don't just set a day for voting to begin. They establish the day for the election itself. Now, that is the point under federal law at which the choice of federal officers is made and finalized. If you allow ballots to be received and counted days or even weeks later, it effectively extends Election Day for some voters, but not for others. This creates an untenable situation in which you have a rolling or multi-day federal election, which clearly violates the statute's plain text and plain purpose. And the Supreme Court repeatedly upheld this idea that Election Day means Election Day, and that states, looking at you, California, can't simply say, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to accept ballots whenever they come in. In 1997, there was a very big case called Foster v. Love, and it was a unanimous ruling by the Supreme Court. It was a decision on an open primary system in Louisiana. What this determined was Louisiana's system, which could theoretically declare the winner of an election in October. Say, if a candidate who came out of the primary got 50% of the vote plus one, you could actually be named the winner of a congressional election in October. That is, of course, about a month before federal election day, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. The Supreme Court was unanimous back in 1997 in Foster and held that Louisiana's open primary system violated those same statutes that I just listed. Justice David Souter, in his majority opinion, writing again for a unanimous court, the court's liberals, even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, held that, quote, federal law requires the combined actions of voters and officials meant to make a final selection of an office holder must occur on the federally prescribed day. This doesn't just mean that voters cast their ballots on election day. This also means that the mechanism of counting the votes, the mechanism of determining which candidate won. Now, yes, obviously, there are reviews of the elections. The elections get certified a couple of weeks later, but that's essentially a procedural issue. We know, barring something totally unforeseen, if there is a recount, if there is enough fraud that is what's known as outcome determinative, meaning that if there's so much fraud, it actually did impact the outcome of the election, then something can change. But in Foster, the court was very clear, quote, when the federal statutes speak of the election of a senator or representative, they plainly refer to the combined actions of voters and officials meant to make a final selection of an office holder. Furthermore, quote, the federal statutes plainly require the election of federal officers to occur on a federally prescribed election day. This doesn't mean that if the ballots are postmarked by election day and the voters filled them out by election day, we hope that they actually filled them out by election day. We hope that the people who are accepting these ballots well after election day are going to be trustworthy enough to say, oh, yes, they were postmarked by election day. That ultimately doesn't matter because under federal law, under the Foster v. Love precedent that was set nearly 30 years ago. And remember, the same leftists who are cheering this decision today were the same ones saying, how dare you overturn settled precedent, 50 years settled precedent in Roe v. Wade in the Dobbs v. Jackson women's health decision of 2022 that overturned Roe. Well, essentially what just happened today is that Foster v. Love was overturned, and the Supreme Court, a deeply divided Supreme Court, in a very surprising ruling, overturned Foster by saying, yes, well, as long as the ballots are postmarked by election day, they can be received 5 days after the election. Or say California could determine that a ballot can come in 2 weeks after the election. Yes. Obviously, we're not. You can totally trust us, bro. This ballot definitely was postmarked by election day. It doesn't matter because the voter voted by election day. Just so long as that happened, it doesn't matter whether or not the ballot was actually counted, whether or not the election was actually finalized by election day. As you can imagine, Samuel Alito had something to say about this in his dissent. If ballots received after election day, he writes, are added to the set of ballots that dictate the election's outcome, the electorate's choice does not occur on election day, and the federal election day statutes are violated. He emphasized the federal statutes that I just cited that would seem to be pretty self-evident, that Tuesday after the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November is the day by which we have to determine who's going to Congress next January 3rd. We have to determine who's going to the United States Senate. We have to determine who the Electoral College is going to meet in a couple of weeks to vote for and select as president. Alito emphasized those statutes and said, look, the final authoritative choice of the electorate needs to be made on the uniform federal election day. Quote, the collection of individual ballots is the equivalent of a single document declaring the winner of each race. This expression of the electorate's choices is conveyed to the responsible election officials when the collection of individual ballots is completed. At that point, the electorate authoritatively expresses its choices. If that doesn't happen, on the prescribed election day. If instead that happens sometime in the distant future, and in California, as we saw just a couple of weeks ago in the Los Angeles mayoral election, that can happen several weeks after Election Day. But even more egregiously and even more relevant for the purposes of this decision, in 2024, in the 13th congressional district election, it was almost a month after the federal election day, November 5th, that the race was called. Would it surprise you that a Republican incumbent by the name of John Duarte went from a comfortable lead on election night to losing very, very narrowly to a Democrat challenger by the name of Adam Gray, almost entirely on the strength of ballots that arrived long after November 5th? There were several races in California. Another one where there was a Republican loss, it was decided on November 27th. Again, federal elections that are decided after the federal election day. The Supreme Court's decision today was unconscionable because it takes the plain meaning of federal statute, election day, and perverts it to allow for a practice that is ripe for fraud, that is ripe for abuse, that we know is, at the very least, seeding the seeds of doubt in people's minds that they can't trust federal elections, that they can't trust any elections, because no matter how big a lead is, and it should go without saying that those leads are never safe for one political party, that there is one political party that always seems to come back and always seems to make up nearly impossible ground by virtue of mail-in ballots that come in long after Election Day. It's never as though Democrats are losing these races, Republicans are coming back. It's Democrats always are winning races based on the strength of votes that come in after Election Day. Then we have a situation in which those same Democrats say, well, you're just an election denier if you suggest that there's anything untoward or anything suspicious about ballots that are allowed to be counted 5, 6, 7 days, 2 weeks after Election Day, so long as they're quote unquote postmarked by Election Day, something that people might or might not even be checking for. Well, then you're a conspiracy theorist. You just have to trust the process, like we're some brain-dead Philadelphia 76ers fan trying to tank our way to an NBA championship. There is no trusting this process. And frankly, there is no trusting Chief Justice John Roberts or the incredibly disappointing Trump nominee Amy Coney Barrett to actually get the Constitution right. These are people who fancy themselves strict constructionists. These are people who fancy themselves the opponents of judicial activism. Well, this is the worst sort of judicial activism. Statute could not be clearer. Federal law says Election Day is when all election activities need to end. Coney Barrett and Roberts said, nah, not really. The elections end when the states say they do. And really, when we say the states can say they do. Why is this such a big problem? Well, coincidentally enough, we just found out with another bit of election craziness coming out of where else? The city of Green Bay. We'll get to that next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
By generations of families, the Sawmill Restaurant and Pub in Richfield is the place to go for the very finest home-style cooking and an atmosphere that just can't be beat. Check them out at sawmill-in.com. That's sawmill-in.com.
Kendrick Perkins here. Yo, y'all are not going to believe what Perks Pass is giving you a chance to win. A trip to Hawaii, airfare, a beautiful Hilton Grand Vacation Villa. The whole thing. Enter to win at PerksPass.com.
Help shape what's next by voting for the brands, rewards, and experiences you want to see join the Perks Pass community. PerksPass.com. Join the community and enter to win today.
Dan Voss at Cut and Go. We're celebrating America's 250th birthday with Hister trees. In World War I, artists drew, measured, then created exact replicas of severely damaged trees on active battlefields, then recreated them out of iron. Under cover of total darkness, Americans cut the original tree down and installed the replica with no one the wiser. The iron camouflage trees hid American patriots in plain sight.
Sonny Voss here. That's the American Ingenuity tree my dad imported, inventing the remote control, truck-mounted, articulated grapple saw, cut and goes operators use to safely put your dead trees on the ground or remove branches that grew over something important.
Cut and Go will trim large branches or remove your dead trees. Grind and Go removes eyesore trip hazard stumps. And Plant and Go implements maximum beauty and benefit new, potentially historic tree planting plans.
Happy 250th anniversary. Tons of Trees movement. CUTNGOtrees.com.
Life moves fast, and it's easy to feel spiritually drained. That's why InTouch.org is here to help you stay grounded in God's Word every day. At InTouch.org, you'll find biblical teaching from Dr. Charles Stanley, daily devotionals, free resources, and messages that speak directly to what you're facing. Whether you need encouragement, clarity, or a moment to reconnect with God, it's all right at your fingertips. Discover a place to grow your faith and find real hope at InTouch.org.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, heading into America's 250th birthday. We are going to have specialty programming coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Objective proof that America is the greatest country on Earth. Well, the same day that the United States Supreme Court rules that, you can just kind of keep collecting and counting absentee ballots until you darn well please in federal elections. There is no federal election day. This is a horrific ruling today. The city of Green Bay proves why we do need uniformity, both at the federal level and at the state level. For the second time this year, the city of Green Bay has admitted to potentially sending out duplicate absentee ballots. In a social media post yesterday, the city said it finished sending out a total of 5,084 absentee ballots for the upcoming August primary election this past Thursday. According to Wisconsin Public Radio, over the weekend, city staff became aware that some voters in 7 wards and part of an 8th may have received a duplicate ballot. Green Bay has about 50 voting wards. The city plans to send letters to voters who receive 2 ballots with instructions to only return 1. Stop me if you've heard this before. This comes just a couple of months after more than 150 people in Green Bay received 2 absentee ballots ahead of this year's April state Supreme Court election, prompting Republicans to file a complaint against the city with the state agency overseeing elections. In a statement regarding the most recent error, City Clerk Celestine Jeffries said her office tries to ensure Green Bay voters receive clear, accurate, and reliable election administration. She said, "I regret the printing error occurred. I assure our voters that only 1 ballot per eligible voter will be tabulated. I encourage any voter with questions to contact our office directly." A spokesperson for the city of Green Bay said officials are investigating the cause of the error and will provide updates as they become available. The spokesperson declined to provide an interview. The city didn't provide an estimate for just how many duplicate ballots may have gone out. The Republican Party has now, of course, called for an election or an investigation into this election error. The city made the exact same mistake back in April. Now, this morning, State Representative Shay Sortwell, a Republican from Two Rivers, questioned Jeffries' job security. Just wondering when the complete incompetence of Green Bay municipal clerk to be able to properly run an election will result in the mayor doing his job by asking the city council to fire his appointee. Now, of course, this being Wisconsin Public Radio, the story then goes on to say, well, Republicans have tied this into their conspiracy theory that somehow the city of Green Bay was violating state election law in the way it ran the 2020 presidential election. The city of Green Bay actually violated several state statutes. I outlined this extensively 6 years ago and don't really feel the need to do so again. Suffice it to say, they turned over the administration of the election to one of those people who was working with the Zuckerbucks organization. This was Michael Spitzer Rubenstein, who was with the National Vote at Home Institute. He was basically running the city of Green Bay's election. This is a huge violation of state law. Only the municipal clerk, only the city clerk, who was not Celestine Jeffries at the time. It was a clerk who actually resigned just a couple of weeks before the election because she was furious that she was distraught that she was not being allowed to run anything. And instead, this was being outsourced to those private groups. Well, now for a second straight election, and I don't believe, at least I'd like to hope that there's nothing nefarious going on here, that this isn't an intentional way of getting multiple ballots out to the people who are much more likely to vote absentee. Democrats. I think this is just pure bureaucratic incompetence. I'm going to join Shay Sortwell in not just wondering whether the municipal court or when the municipal clerk is going to be fired, but to demand this woman, who was essentially the mayor of Green Bay, Eric Gingrich's second in command during the 2020 presidential election. This woman has been screwing up elections either intentionally or by her sheer, pure, unfiltered, unadulterated idiocy for 6 years now. Does she have like naked pictures of the mayor? Was he doing one of those crazy nude bike rides that the LGBTQ plus minus ampersand community can't stop taking part in major cities? It's just not a nude bike ride unless you're riding your bike nude in front of a bunch of kids. Was he taking part in one of these and Celestine Jeffries has got the pictures? What is going on here? This woman absolutely needs to be fired yesterday. Just every election, we're going to say, oops, we send out a couple of absentee ballots that shouldn't have gone out. Oh, well, there's 150, there's 250 spare ballots that are going out in the wild. This is precisely what Democrats or Republicans have been saying for decades now. That mail-in ballots are the easiest way to defraud elections because there is no chain of custody with them. When you have ballots that are just sort of sent out to everybody and anybody, and remember in California, that's the law. They just send out ballots to everybody, every address. You could be living at an address, you'll get a ballot for somebody who hasn't lived there in 25 years. It's a relatively common thing that goes on in California. And now it's apparently a common thing if you live in Green Bay and you sign up for absentee ballots. If you get mail-in ballots, you're just going to get 2 or 3 per election. Now, this doesn't per se provide evidence that there's vote fraud going on, but let's see, is it easier to commit vote fraud or more difficult to commit vote fraud when you have got a whole lot more ballots out there in the wild than there are people who are eligible to vote using those ballots? This needs to be punished. And this is precisely why the U.S. Supreme Court made such a grievous error by allowing these mail-in ballots to come in well after the election, because if these are ballots that are not properly filled out, if these are ballots that aren't supposed to be filled out, well, it just gives a whole lot more time for those ballots to keep coming in. And the people who are counting them, whether they're counting them properly or not, to add votes to the total, to keep the election going and to keep counting ballots until they get the result people want. Look, if you don't want people like me to constantly question what big Democrat city entities are doing and whether or not the people who are in charge of counting the ballots and sending the ballots out are doing so on the up and up or are too incompetent to continue to have jobs. Stop doing things that cause any reasonable person to question whether or not you are actually on the up and up. One time this happens, okay, it's a printing error. 2 straight elections where more ballots are being sent out than there are people to cast them, that starts to become a pattern, and that starts to become incredibly suspicious. Coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show in about 25 minutes or so, Francesca Hong finds someone to stream with who's even more nuts than her. It's the Franny and Hassan Piker Show. We'll get into that next.
My radio show was very popular, but the Jay Weber podcast is turning out to be some of my best and most insightful work. This is really good stuff. Twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Find it on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Jay Weber podcast is presented by Creative Planning, a comprehensive wealth management approach for all elements of your financial life. Your team awaits. Find the Jay Weber podcast every Tuesday and Friday on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships, where my family just went for our new SUV. I could not possibly be happier with the way it rides, with the incredible price and terms, and especially with the customer service. No pressure, no pushiness, just people like Maddie and Michael and the whole team at Lynch Chevrolet of Mukwonago who genuinely wanted to help us find the perfect vehicle at the price that fit our budget. Let the entire Lynch family take care of your family. Visit shoplynch.com.
This is Patrick Lynch. Join us for our America 250 celebration at the Lynch family of dealerships. Since 1957, we've proudly sold and serviced American brands. Shop the best deals of the year. Hundreds of Chevrolet, GMC, Buick, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Ford, and Lynch protected vehicles. Deals as low as 0% for 5 years, no payments for 130 days, and receive a $250 gas card. Plus, enjoy a full tank of gas on us. Visit us at shoplynch.com. I want you to love how you feel in your new ride.
The Women and Wealth Show from Annex Wealth Management, designed to help women feel confident about their financial decisions. Every Saturday afternoon at 2 on News Talk 1130, WISN, or wherever you get your podcasts.
So the Donahos invited us to dinner.
Hang on, honey. Hello?
Hi, this is Lori from First American Bank.
Whoa, honey, it's the bank. Listen to how real this AI voice sounds.
Hello?
Yes, hello. I'm calling about your First American Bank home equity line of credit application.
That is free.
Right? What do I press for? Representative.
Oh, you don't press anything. I'm a real person.
Now it's claiming to be a real person.
Wow.
Sir, along with First American Bank's best loan deals in town, we pride ourselves on providing impeccable personal service. That's why you get me, a real-life specialist, to help you every step of the way with your loan. Isn't that more useful than passing you off to an artificial intelligence chatbot?
What's 2 times 2?
4.
Who created the Dewey Decimal System?
Melville Dewey.
Limburger sandwich or cheese curds?
Oh, you're not dragging me into that one.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Divorce is challenging, but getting a favorable outcome shouldn't be. I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Divergent Family Law. At Divergent Family Law, our experienced attorneys are committed to helping you understand your rights and options. We believe everyone deserves guidance through life's toughest transitions. During our free consultation, we'll give you a clear breakdown of the process and a flat rate quote for representation. Our attorneys will give you an honest assessment of your options based on Wisconsin law and your local judges. They'll help you make informed, confident decisions. You deserve to feel secure, not shortchanged. You may feel pressured to play nice with your spouse, or you may feel like you have no choice but to dig your heels in to fight on every topic. But being fair doesn't mean giving up your fair share. At Divergent Family Law, we're here to protect your future and prioritize what's truly important to you. You can be fair and still get your fair share, or better. Reach out now for a free divorce consultation. Go to divergentfamilylaw.com. That's divergentfamilylaw.com.
Based in Lake Country, I'm Endurance Exteriors, Ryan Ketchum. Endurance Exteriors is the company you'd create to do your roof, siding, windows, or gutters if you could. Virtually every roofer hastily prepares and rushes through the project. Endurance remodels your home the way you would with meticulous quality control and attention to detail. Our smaller crews may take 3 days to re-roof or re-side your home because an expertly managed, chaos-free job site provides superior results over too many workers pushing to be done in one day. With Endurance Exteriors, every expert on your property is superiorly trained to install to better than warranty specifications, lifetime manufacturer warranty, GAF roofs, or siding and windows. Our employee professionals treat your property, family, and neighbors with unwavering respect. Endurance Exteriors charges on average 20% less than the slap it up and go roofer for just as you would if you could installation, care, quality material, and workmanship warranted for life, GAF roofs or siding and windows. Exterior remodeling the way you would if you could. EnduranceExteriors.com. That's EnduranceExteriors.com. EnduranceExteriors.com.
On News World Podcast, we're celebrating America's 250th birthday. And I asked my guests how they're spending their 4th of July. Brett Baer.
I'll be in Washington because it's a big, big day.
Jared Isaacman.
I plan to be flying an F-5 fighter jet painted in Freedom 250 colors, along with 4 other fighter jets flying over the nation's capital.
Listen to News World on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow News World and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio FIFA World Cup Update.
The U.S. is preparing to return to action Wednesday in the round of 32 against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Forward Flo Balogun says the team is focused.
It's going to be a challenging game. On top of that, World Cup, knockout game, it's not something we're going to take lightly.
Wednesday's match in Santa Clara is set for 8 o'clock Eastern. Among the matches today, Germany against Paraguay and the Netherlands faces Morocco.
For live Fox coverage, search World Cup now on the free iHeartRadio app. Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Long, a salute to these great United States, counting down the days until America's 250th birthday here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. About 20 minutes or so from now, leading gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong here in Wisconsin is going to join leading socialist whack job Hassan Piker on his incredibly popular radical left socialist live stream. Now, this comes as the Wisconsin Democratic gubernatorial primary just might be the single most watched in America. That is not hyperbole. That is a fact. After the stunning sweep of socialists in New York's congressional and state legislative Democrat primaries last week, that had a lot of people on both the left and right incredibly concerned about the direction of the Democratic Party nationally, and also the potential for socialists to actually start winning in places other than what's affectionately known as the Commie Corridor in New York City. Yes, New York is a very, very liberal place. But if an outright communist can win in a place like, say, Wisconsin, the ultimate swing state, then communists can win anywhere. Now, this appearance, which is set to begin, Hong posted originally today that it was going to take place sometime just before 2 p.m. Shocker, a socialist is late for something. Hassan apparently was well behind schedule, and now Franny is not going to appear until about 4 p.m., so about 17 minutes from now. Yes, we are monitoring this at the Heartland Post and here at the Dan O'Donnell Show, and we will bring you all relevant craziness as it comes in. Just how nuts is Hassan Piker? This is the sort of stuff he says semi-regularly.
Kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
So first of all, it's red capitalist blood. The plural of blood is blood. But apparently you don't need to be particularly bright to be the single biggest left-wing streaming star in the world. At the same time, left-wing talk radio is proving again and again and again that it simply can't succeed. Civic Media, you might remember, launched to great fanfare. They are going to take over. They are going to stop all of us evil capitalist right-wing radio hosts here in Wisconsin. Well, Civic Media just announced Friday afternoon news dump. They're shutting down a number of their signals because they can't afford to keep the lights on. Womp, womp, womp. I will never take joy in somebody else losing their job, especially not in radio. It's a very difficult business, as I think everybody knows. Our company, iHeartMedia, is engaged in a massive round of layoffs. It's a very tough business. But at the same time, left-wing talk radio is failing. This guy is about as popular as it gets, primarily because you can't just go on an FCC-regulated radio signal and start screaming, I want to kill all the capitalists, let all of the streets run red with their blood. He also said, if you want to get rid of Medicare and Medicaid fraud, you don't need to go along with Rick Scott, the senator from Florida's proposal. You need to kill Rick Scott.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he? He's the Richard Lynn Scott, is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States senator from Florida, a seat he has held.
Okay, is this what this guy's live stream is? He just kind of goes on Wikipedia to fill in the gaps of his own ignorance?
Since 2019. And also, I believe this past election cycle, he was literally the f***ing head of the, what was it, like the Senate committee or something?
Okay. Do people actually find this entertaining? He was just kind of going through Wikipedia because he wasn't quite sure what Rick Scott got. Why do we want to kill Rick Scott? Let me look up. What capitalist position does he have? Oh, okay. He's the senior United States Senator. Yeah, it's okay. We should probably kill him. He then goes in on Dan Crenshaw. You might know him. He is the Texas Republican congressman. He lost an eye in combat. He rips on him and said he lost his eye because a brave Mujahideen fighter, shall we say, did incredibly inappropriate things with it. And then he just drops in you know what? America deserved 9/11.
This guy has the understanding of foreign policy of like a 12-year-old. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with this dude? Didn't he go to war and literally lose his eye because some Mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier, fucked his eye hole with their dick? Isn't that how he lost his fucking dumbass eye? Because he got his fucking eye hole fucked? America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying.
I'm sorry. Did a whole bunch of people not want to fire me for making a tame joke a couple of months back? Am I hallucinating that happened in the same universe that this is the most popular left-wing streamer on planet Earth? Folks, see, I notice things like this. I also notice that the Democratic Party of Wisconsin was trying to make Tom Tiffany's connection to me politically toxic. You got Francesca Hong going on this guy's stream. Do you realize there is a 20-minute compilation? I contemplated playing a significant portion of this just to let you people know how dangerously radical Hassan Piker is and how dangerous it is that we have got people who are simpatico with him in Francesca Hong that are dangerously close to winning incredible power here in our state. Unless you think, well, Dan, this is just hyperbole. He's not actually a bad guy. Here is him using a shock collar to repeatedly shock his dog while live on a stream.
All of America's much more consequential violence. Okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go. Just stop.
Do you hear that? That was him shocking his dog.
Jesus Christ. What are you doing? You're being such a baby.
Yeah, because you just shocked the life out of her. And he did so repeatedly, by the way. All of you lefties who actually went to the Ridgeland Beagle farm to protest so that the Ridgeland Beagles would be. How many of you people are tuning into the Franny Hong, Hassan Piker, dog shock, kill capitalist fun time hour that starts in about 10 minutes? In another life, this guy would be so toxic that there would be no chance that Francesca Hong could ever appear on his program, ever appear in public. But because we're apparently just fine with murderous psychopaths like Hassan Piker and apparently the women who love him like Franny Hong getting seats at the table of power in this country, if you are an avowed crazy leftist, those rules are just completely gone. Pardon me if I don't take, what is that hair-lipped moron who is in charge of the state Democratic Party now? Seriously, it's Timu Ben Wickler. I don't even remember his name. Devin Remiker. Devin Remiker for an entire week using his impotent little delusion of power to try to get me fired. That did a whole hell of a lot of good, Dev. Maybe work on shaving yourself properly while we have his leading candidate appearing on this guy's show. It's hilarious to me. Jay Weber makes a joke about Tim Walz's kid. Oh, he needs to be fired. Dan O'Donnell, he needs to be fired. This is Hassan Piker's whole thing. Kill all the capitalists, let the streets run red with their blood. He might as well rename his show to that. And Democrats are clamoring to appear with him. Who is it? Philip Schulman? Pullman, their spokesman. He's the modern day Graham Zelinsky. Half of the cocaine abuse, twice of the crazy. That's basically what it is. Oh my God. Tom Tiffany announced his candidacy on Dan O'Donnell's show. We're gonna, and then they get the single dopiest reporter in the history of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, guy by the name of Drake Bentley, who has now gone to something much more his intellectual speed, a civic media-owned rag, and they try to run this constant thing. Oh, Dan O'Donnell, any story about Franny Hong going on with the murderous socialist? Of course not. We got to get Molly Beck to email Franny Hong to see if she agrees with the dog-shocking, violent fantasies about anybody who dares to participate in America's capitalist system? No, of course not. So spare me your outrage about Donald Trump or Dan O'Donnell or any Derek Van Orden or anybody else. You people have forfeited any right to say anything about anything that we say, so long as you're totally cool with Franny Hong going on with this literal piker. We name the unhinged liberal of the day when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
A couple stalled semis out there causing problems. 94 westbound at the stadium. That one taken out the 2 left lanes. Another northbound on 4145 near center. That's taken out the 2 right lanes. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Yard. The By the Yard BOGO Bash is here. Every Thursday, they'll reveal a new BOGO 30% off deal on some of their most popular outdoor furniture. The twist, each offer lasts just 5 days. Set a reminder, then visit buytheyard.net or the Oconomowoc showroom on Thursdays to see what's on sale. By the Yard. Heart. Life is better outdoors.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Grieve Law. If you're charged with a drunk driving, you're not just looking at a ticket. You're looking at a permanent mark on your record that can affect your career and your ability to rent a car or travel internationally, not to mention the classes you'll need to take or the ignition interlock device that you'll have to install. Your license will be revoked, and even with a work permit, you're one long meeting or traffic jam away from driving revoked and facing up to 1 year in jail. That's a lot more than just a ticket. And if you pay the ticket without a fight, you are agreeing to be on the hook for all of it. At Grieve Law, we believe one mistake shouldn't define your life. Our seasoned criminal defense attorneys focus on OWI cases with a track record of getting results. We examine your case, challenge field sobriety tests, scrutinize breathalyzer accuracy, and expose the weaknesses in the prosecution's case. If you have been arrested for an OWI, you're facing serious consequences. But with Grieve Law in your corner, you are far from facing them alone. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
Can people see into your home or business after dark? Did you know most burglars gain entry by breaking glass? Window film specialists Privacy and Security Window Films help hold shattered glass together, making break-ins more difficult and providing added protection for your family, employees, and property. Plus, you'll enjoy reduced heat, less glare, improved privacy, and protection from harmful UV rays. Proudly serving Southeast Wisconsin. Call 888-950-0979 today for your free consultation.
There's a lot of talk around artificial intelligence, including insurance. Let's hear from Jeff Zelezinski, VP of Insurance Operations at R&R Insurance, on this topic.
Great to be here, Jay. One of the more interesting narratives that I've heard recently from one big insurance broker is that they're a tech platform that includes insurance. My response is buyer beware. Here are some things for the listeners to think about. Bad data will result in poor decisions. When a business or an individual relies on AI or modeling to design or make insurance buying decisions for you, what'll happen when something goes wrong? A critical form gets omitted or not placed on your policy, or a claim gets denied and you have questions.
So what's the lesson here for our listeners?
AI is still developing. Be mindful in risking your largest asset, your business, your home, to an AI tool without a licensed insurance professional guiding those decisions.
Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Here's why. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.com. I'm attorney Frank Crivello of the Warshawski Personal Injury Law Firm. Many personal injury firms operate as settlement clearinghouses. It's a low overhead, except for the cost of marketing, and profitable business model for a law firm. They advertise, take cases, and negotiate settlements. They get paid, their clients get paid, everyone is happy. Or are they? If you have a multi-million-dollar injury and settle for a few $100,000, your standard of living for the rest of your life will be terribly impacted. On the other side is Warshawski. From the moment we take your case, we prepare to win at trial. Warshawski is a collection of some of the most accomplished and award-winning personal injury attorneys in Wisconsin, with the most experienced investigators and legal professionals backing their every move. Making injured Wisconsinites whole isn't a game or an act. At Warshawski, it is our calling. We will hold the defendants accountable in your case by making them pay. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.com, 414-276-4970.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena, streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
It's going to be one wild weekend. Are you ready?
Brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile, proud partner of the 2026 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Get that This Is My Song feeling only at Metro.
40 years ago, being informed was about reading the newspaper and watching the nightly news. Now, with information coming at you at the speed of light, being truly informed is a complex proposition, a more comprehensive process. At WISN, our show hosts frame stories, issues, and topics with both facts and unique analysis, and that leaves you with a richer understanding of the world around you. It's the perfect blend of information and insight. Stay informed all day, every day on WISN.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. I think we've got time for a phone call before we get to the unhinged liberal of the day. We go to John. Is it in Mundelein, Illinois? Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Happy 250th, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call. And
Maybe you'll decide I'm the unhinged liberal for the day. I don't know.
Probably. Things would have to go real south real quick, John.
Okay.
That's all right. Go ahead.
I know you guys are really upset about Amy Coney Barrett's vote in the Supreme Court on the date that mail-in votes can be postmarked. And I know that the president, even at this hour, is saying that he's far more interested in getting the SAVE Act passed than in affordable housing legislation. I was going to ask you, though, it's a real simple question. I'm wondering if you can tell me the name of any of the 50 states, any state, where the people with the legitimate authority to assess the security of voting ever concluded that the outcome of any election in their state was altered by people lying about their identity at the polls or by non-citizens voting. What's the name of a state?
I'll actually do one better. I'll give you a president of the United States, not named Donald Trump and not even a Republican, who determined that mail-in balloting was actually the single biggest form of potential vote fraud in the country. We are really running close to the top of the hour. I'll try to get to this after the top of the hour. Jimmy Carter in 2005, bipartisan commission. John, hope that helps. We'll get to this after the top of the hour news. Got to step aside for the news. We'll be right back.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court handed down a major ruling involving the counting of mail-in ballots. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
In a 5-4 vote, the Supreme Court has ruled that late arriving mail-in voting ballots can be counted in Mississippi. The Watson v. Republican National Committee decision rejected a Republican-led attack on laws in more than half the states, the District of Columbia, and 3 territories. Those laws allow mailed-in ballots to arrive and be counted some number of days after the election, provided that they're postmarked by Election Day. The case pitted Mississippi against the Trump administration, and at issue was whether federal Election Day statutes preempted various state laws.
For the second time this year, some absentee voters in Green Bay were sent a second ballot.
The city on Sunday announced that some residents in select wards have been mailed a second ballot by accident. This is the second election this year that the clerk's office has erroneously mailed double ballots, the first time being the April elections. It's unclear how many extra ballots were mailed out, but City Hall will be sending a second letter to those who got 2 to only return 1 ballot. Raymond Newport, Wisconsin Radio Network.
And a man from Milwaukee is still at large after police say he shot 2 people at a wedding last weekend in a fight about meatballs.
Police say during the reception on June 20th, 41-year-old Thomas Williams of Milwaukee was told by the bride's cousin to stop eating meatballs with his hands and use a plate. That's when Williams reportedly punched her in the face, and that caused her brother-in-law to get involved. According to a criminal complaint, Williams shot them both. The woman was shot in the arm and leg, while the male victim was shot in the back of the neck. Both had to go to an area hospital for treatment. In Madison, Robin Colbert, Wisconsin Radio Network.
Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. Brewers try to snap a 2-game losing streak against the Reds tonight at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast, powered by WillysWorldCustoms.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Hot and humid today with temperatures in the 90s and heat index values in the 100s. An excessive heat warning continues through 7 p.m. Tuesday. Overnight lows only drop to mid-70s, and we're back to 90s with high humidity on Tuesday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Red Pilled America.
One question we never hear answered in history class is, who was America's first slave owner? This week on Red Pilled America, we take a deep dive into the colonial days to find the shocking answer. Listen to Red Pilled America on the iHeartRadio app. That's Red Pilled America. a storytelling show.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
There's a new and exciting way to start your journey toward a more joyful existence. Listen to Joy 101 with Hoda Kotb on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you're looking for a place to grow spiritually in the middle of a busy life, intouch.org is designed for you. Explore practical, biblical teaching from Dr. Charles Stanley, daily devotionals, free study guides, and messages that speak to real-life challenges. Whether you're searching for direction, comfort, or a deeper understanding of God's Word, you'll find tools to help you take the next step. Discover resources that meet you right where you are at intouch.org.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
You understand the premise.
Yes, the premise is a promise.
And the promise is for our big bank
to be like First American Bank.
No. We promise to try and be like First American Bank.
What?
It's impossible for us to be like First American Bank. They have the best loan deals in town.
Really?
Really. And First American Bank gives you a First American Bank loan specialist who works with you every step of the way.
No.
Yes.
So no shuffling them around from department to department, person to person?
Just a First American Bank specialist to make the loan process quick, easy, and smooth.
So First American Bank can do everything a big bank like us can do and more.
Yeah, makes me nauseous too.
Ooh, better idea. We just promised to be more like First American Bank. I mean, is more or is less than more still more?
Oh.
We'll fool everyone.
Yeah, love it.
Thank you.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced from people you can trust on Newstalk 1130 WISN.
The global stage is lit. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is on.
It's Austin Trusty's first career goal for the United States.
iHeartRadio and Fox Sports are bringing you every match of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Messi scores the goal to make him the World Cup's all-time leading scorer.
Don't miss Team USA's next match Wednesday night at 8 Eastern.
Into the knockout round.
Lock in your preset now on the free iHeartRadio app.
Just search World Cup.
The world is listening.
Are you?
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
77 years ago,
I am a real American.
Ask not what your country can do for you.
Fight for the rights of every man.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
I am a real American.
I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Fight for the rights of every man.
We will make America proud again.
I am a real American.
We will make America safe again.
Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
And we will make America great again.
Man, I get goosebumps every time I hear that. And I'm the one who made that open. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Just goosebumps hearing all of those great American speeches, all of those great moments in American history ahead of our 250th birthday this coming Saturday, July 4th, 2026. Coming up on tomorrow's show, the single greatest, most American piece of writing ever. Didn't come from a president. It didn't come from a great celebrated American author like Mark Twain. It came from an everyday American, a lawyer, actually, but not writing in a court, writing home to his wife while he was on a Civil War battlefield. It tells everything about what it is to be an American, what it means to sacrifice for this country, what it means to truly put a love of who we are as a people above everything, above every joy in life, including life itself. The single greatest piece of American writing coming up tomorrow here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Special programming today. America is the single best country on earth, and I can objectively prove it. Please understand, ladies and gentlemen, that I can prove literally everything I say. We had a caller, John from Mundelein, Illinois, right? Is that? Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. John in Mundelein, Illinois. Very, very polite. Very good question, actually. And he said, name a state where an election was actually overturned because of mail-in ballot fraud. Well, first of all, I said I can do one better. Completely lost track of time. We were running up against the top of the hour. Have no fear. We are still going to do the unhinged liberal of the day because it is just so incredibly good. It's so perfect for this 4th of July, America's 250th birthday week. First of all, I said I would do one better. How about Jimmy Carter, the so-called Carter-Baker Commission? It was called the Commission on Federal Election Reform. It was organized by American University's Center for Democracy and Election Management, funded by a group of philanthropic organizations. And they published a report, quote, Building Confidence in U.S. Elections. Now, this was a bipartisan report co-chaired by James Baker and former President Jimmy Carter back in 2005. One of the key findings, quote, absentee ballots remain the largest source of potential voter fraud, and, quote, voting by mail is likely to increase the risks of fraud and of contested elections in certain states. Well, Mark or John or whoever our caller was actually went on the Facebook feed to say, remember, Dan, I'm not talking about some theoretical conclusion by Jimmy Carter. I want actual fraud. Again, please, always, ladies and gentlemen, always, 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 always understand this. I can always back up what I say. My knowledge of this stuff is much greater than you liberals give me credit for, and it is much greater than you liberals' knowledge in the first place. It was, in fact, the very first time a congressional election had ever been overturned on fraud grounds. It happened in North Carolina in 2018. Republican candidate Mark Harris, after the ballots were counted, led a Democrat by the name of Dan McCready by 905 votes. But the North Carolina Board of Elections would not certify the results because of a whole lot of irregularities with, you guessed it, mail-in ballots, primarily in one of the key counties in that congressional district, Bladen County. There was also a number of problems in nearby Robeson County. A Republican operative by the name of McCrae Dowless, full name Leslie McCrae Dowless, he went by McCrae Dowless. He was hired by Harris's campaign, and apparently, or at least he claimed it was without his knowledge, he orchestrated an illegal ballot harvesting scheme in which he and people who he hired paid workers to simply go and collect absentee ballots from voters' homes. It was unclear who was actually filling out those ballots, whether they were the people who the ballots were addressed to or whether it was Dowless and his crew, because they were forging signature. They were absolutely caught filling in blank votes, sometimes with matching pens in a scheme to try to avoid detection. They were falsely claiming to have witnessed ballot signatures and actual voting. They mailed the ballots apparently in ways that were designed to conceal the fact that they had tampered with the votes. And Dowless was apparently well known for doing this exact sort of thing. There were allegations that dogged him in 2016 and also in 2014 before that. So the Board of Elections held hearings and unanimously voted just a couple of months later, February 2019, that there needed to be a new election. The election was actually vacated because of all of the mail-in ballot fraud. This was the first time in American history that a federal election was actually overturned due to fraud. Now, there's debate about whether it had happened before. Suffice it to say, it was the first time in a long time, first time in American history that it was mail-in ballots that were the source of this fraud. Now, even though Harris determined it was actually his son, weirdly enough, who blew the whistle on all of the shady stuff that McCrae Dowless was doing, but Harris actually withdrew. A new election was held, and a Republican still won because it was a reasonably safe Republican district. A guy by the name of Dan Bishop won in this do-over. Number of people were criminally charged, including Dowless. He actually died in 2022 before his federal trial could begin. Number of people pleaded guilty to misdemeanors, and Harris was never directly implicated. But of course, his political career was all but over. So I believe that was the question, right? When has mail-in ballot fraud actually, when has any actual decision maker in any state overturned an election because of mail-in ballot fraud? I believe that was the specific question that was asked. It has happened. It's happened recently. Weirdly enough, when it was actually investigated, it was determined that a Republican cheated, or at least had cheating benefit him, thus proving Jimmy Carter and James Baker from 13 years earlier, 21 years ago now, correct that mail-in balloting absolutely is the single easiest way to cheat an election.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist. Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Didn't get to it at the end of the last hour. I want to get to it right now. It is time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day, and it is indeed State Representative Lee Snodgrass. She would rather see a whole bunch of pride parades instead of patriotic 4th of July parades. In a 2018 Facebook post that our staff over at the Heartland Post found, in a group called Pride Parade in the Fox Cities, Make It Happen 2019, Snodgrass, who's listed as one of the group's administrators, wrote, "Appleton has so many damn parades. I'm tired of parades with patriotic pride and am itching for one with LGBTQ pride. Who's with me?" She then instructs members to research municipalities and what it costs to host a parade, decide how to fund it, decide the city, route, and date, partner with area organizations, and start the fun stuff. She is so tired of all of these patriotic parades. She just wants to see a pride parade. Lee Snodgrass, your unhinged liberal of the day. We will get to the daily Trump date coming up in just a couple of minutes. Right now, we help you know the difference between financial advisors. A financial advisor you can always have pride in because he is working with and for you as a fee-only fiduciary. You like that transition there, Dave Spano? He is Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex Wealth Management. I'm a pro. I am a pro at these transitions here.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather talk about the 250th anniversary and what a great time it is for this country and all the positive things that are happening and the positive things, Dan, that are happening in the economy.
See,
I mean,
I've rubbed off on him transitioning from the positives of America's 250 to the positives in the economy. That is
how's that
you don't even need
That's a pro spin.
You could be the CEO of the Dan O'Donnell Show. That's how professional that broadcasting just sounded. You're right, though. I mean, my goodness, the market completely brushing aside the fact that the ceasefire isn't exactly ceasing any fire over in Iran, although they agreed not to shoot at each other while there are more meetings taking place this week. Strong day on Wall Street, insanely strong earnings. Up 30% on the S&P 500 this past earnings season. I mean, GDP number is expected to be through the roof in Q2. I mean, there is just a tremendous amount to feel good about.
And it really is. And that's where I was going. It was a nice spin. Thank you very much. But yeah, I mean, 30% earnings growth on the S&P. I mean, if you look on a list, I mean, that is near the top of expectations. And that's the other thing. The expectations for next quarter are strong again. So it wasn't just a one quarter thing. So earnings growth will be good. Number two, we've got a Fed chair in place, and all that consternation is behind us. Really good stuff. Now, with that, you're going to have some volatility. There's no doubt about it. But inflation expectations are coming down. Rates are coming down. And you think, why are people so crabby all the time? Well, it's part of it is they get fed so much negativity. When you look at your portfolio right now, you have to think that you are on track. And if you aren't on track, there's things that you can do about it. But yes, earnings growth is good. Crude oil now, Dan, is under where it was when this conflict began, under $70 a barrel. Isn't that amazing?
I'm shocked by that. I'm equally shocked by the fact that we're not paying like $2.15 at the pump. It's making me question, could there be something else at play than maybe global market dynamics here?
Do you remember back in the day when they actually put the gas prices up and they'd have to get the ladder out and change the numbers? Now, if oil prices used to go up, they were there first thing 6 a.m. in the morning. But as they went down, the ladder kind of hung back for a little bit. But yeah, so when oil prices are coming down, you're not seeing the gas prices come down as much. You can probably argue that's because we're in the middle of the driving season, especially over this weekend, Dan. A lot of people will be moving around, and so there's a demand happening. But again, 30% earnings growth, that looks forward. That looks good going forward. Fed chair in place. His expectations to try to get things under control. Inflation expectations are coming down. Oil is good. GDP report is good. All of this means as we get into the mid part of the year, are you positioned correctly? And that's what you got to think about, folks. What is in your portfolio now? As you and I talked about earlier today, Dan, this is not a set it and forget it.
No.
There are things that are happening in the portfolio that you can do. This halfway mark of the year is probably the time to take an assessment and think about where we go from here.
It absolutely is. Hey, Dave, always appreciate having you on. Have a wonderful 4th of July. Are you doing anything special with the family for the 250th, or is it just going to be a pretty typical 4th of July for you?
It's going to be typical, but we all recognize where we are. And, some of the things that we are doing, Dan, and I'm sure you're doing as well, just think not about the last 250 years, but the last 50 years of where we were. Yeah. Think about, the 1970s when, people were, pushing their cars into the gas stations and the things that were different just in 50 years of time in this country. So people should be far more positive of what's going to come than what has been.
Happy 4th of July to you and from everybody and to everybody at Annex Wealth Management. They are the fee-only fiduciaries working with and for you to plan your family's financial future. Get a free review of your portfolio at annexwealth.com. Coming up next, the Daily Trump Date. We take a look at what is going on in Donald Trump's Washington, the Great American State Fair, and much more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a second.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford, Total Traffic Center.
Westbound on 94, solid from 25th to Hawley. Earlier stall blocking a couple lanes at the stadium has cleared. Still got one block and two right lanes northbound on 4145. Up near North Avenue, solid delays back to Blue Mound. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. In our next episode, we'll share the story of America's response to the Eiffel Tower, the Ferris wheel. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
You've got to try the new TikTok diet.
Just ask Chat.
I just take blue-green algae.
Or you could trust your gut. When it comes to your health, how do you know what's right for you? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple, at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements. Not trends, your biology.
Learn more at Viome.com/know. V as in Victor, IOME.com/KNOW. And use coupon code Viome50 to save $50 off your purchase.
Years of early mornings, every weekend, every holiday, all for one dream,
to play on the LPGA Tour. She finally turned pro. Now, she just needs a stage worthy of her talent. Next Golf is that stage, a professional women's tour in Florida built to give these athletes the runway they've earned. Support her journey at nextgolf.com/support. That's nxxtgolf.com. Play it forward.
Kendrick Perkins here. Yo, y'all are not going to believe what Perks Pass is giving you a chance to win. A trip to Hawaii, airfare, a beautiful Hilton Grand Vacation Villa. The whole thing. Enter to win at PerksPass.com.
Help shape what's next by voting for the brands, rewards, and experiences you want to see join the Perks Pass community. PerksPass.com. Join the community and enter to win today.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Your doctor prescribed profitable weight loss drugs? Do you think they know about the $2 billion gastroparesis and vision loss lawsuit? Total Health's Rapid Reset restores your body's ability to burn fat for energy naturally. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
I am hearing from our staff, which is monitoring the Hassan Piker Franny Hong live stream going on right now on the Hassan Piker Show on Twitch, that Franny is, and I quote, fangirling for the murderous commie Hassan Piker. Folks, just to be clear, every single Democrat in this state was calling for me to be fired over a joke. But they are loving the fact that Francesco Hong, their leading gubernatorial Democrat candidate, is on with a guy who sincerely calls for the homicide of capitalists. Not just his political opponents. He wants the streets to run red with their capitalist blood. Sort of like the healthcare CEO who got murdered in the streets by a Hassan Piker follower, Luigi Mangione, while all sorts of Hassan Piker followers cheered because Mangione struck a blow against the evil capitalists and because the healthcare CEO was committing violence against people by denying their healthcare claims. His murder was justified. Just remember who these people are. Remember. You know, we laugh at people like Lee Snodgrass who are tired of all these patriotic parades and just want to celebrate a gay pride parade for once. But that sort of is the mantra of the left. They'll salute any flag but the American flag. They will support any parade, save for a 4th of July parade. We are getting to the point where they despise this country and they are perfectly fine with violent revolution to take it down. Fortunately, we do have a whole lot of forces standing in their way, most notably one in the White House. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time now for the Daily Trump Tape.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Trump just keeps winning.
It is a win for the administration.
It's also a big win for the United States.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
President Trump posting on Truth Social today in response to the United States Supreme Court's shocking decision. It was a shocking decision, allowing Election Day to just kind of stretch out as long as states determine Election Day can stretch out for. Writing, quote, in light of the tremendous loss in the Supreme Court today concerning voters' rights and the fact that people's votes are allowed to be counted long after an election is over, it is more important than ever to pass the Save America Act, which is, one, all All voters must show photo ID. All voters must show proof of citizenship. And 3, no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. There is no excuse for a politician or otherwise to be against the above 3 requirements. There is only one reason to oppose: cheating. The House of Representatives has approved this vital act 3 times. The United States Senate seems unable to do so. In a time when there is a powerful communist movement taking place in our country, one more dangerous than World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or September 11th, all Democrats and our 5 Republican Senate holdouts, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Tom Tillis, Bill Cassidy, and Mitch McConnell, must vote to save our country. There can be no more excuses. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. The president is this week turning his attention to the Great American State Fair and America's 250th birthday. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum on Fox News this morning saying that Washington, D.C. is expecting record visitors this year.
Here we are celebrating this remarkable, in some ways improbable 250th anniversary. I mean, you think about how our country was started, those patriots taking on the greatest military power in the world at the time, Great Britain, winning that battle. America, if we look down the mall at the other end of the Lincoln Memorial, 80 years after we signed the Declaration of Independence, country almost didn't make it, almost fell apart during the Civil War, but thanks to the leadership of folks like President Lincoln, we made it through that. And here we are all the way up to our 250, and what a remarkable country based on freedom and independent, based on 50 states. You'd like to think that every state would want to put their best foot forward when we have millions and millions of visitors coming to the National Mall. We expect a record number of visitors this year. Just on the 4th of July with the salute to America, it's going to be an amazing celebration that night.
Unfortunately, 10 states are not represented at the Great American State Fair. As you can imagine, all 10 are Democrat states, and all 10, well, just don't want to be associated with anything having to do with President Trump. It's remarkable, this guy's ability to get Democrats, to get his political opponents to support the most asinine possible ideas. The idea that we're not going to take part as a state in America's celebration of its 250th birthday because we don't like the current president. Okay, well, I guess at least we can be thankful that some of those governors, most notably Illinois, some of those governors like J.B. Pritzker, they're not actively out vandalizing the national reflecting pool outside of the Lincoln Memorial. But that is exactly what is going on. Multiple arrests, including of a former Olympic canoeist, an Olympic athlete, was arrested for trying to destroy the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool because they didn't want President Trump to be successful in recoating it and preventing the algae from growing. White House spokeswoman Abigail Jackson
It
today.
is absolutely sick that these Trump deranged whack jobs are vandalizing our beautiful national mall, our beautiful national monuments, all because they hate President Trump. I mean, really, there is nothing more to say other than it is sick. And President Trump has made his message known loud and clear that if you break the law, if you vandalize our monuments, you will be held accountable. And I just think it is really sad to see that there is this division amongst the left on our country at a time when we should all be coming together to celebrate America's 250th birthday, something this administration is doing, making D.C. safe and beautiful for everyone, regardless of their political affiliation. There are sadly folks on the left who can't have that same unified spirit that President Trump is projecting ahead of our 250th birthday.
We are, in fact, going to get into that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour as part of our special America 250 coverage. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your daily Trump Day. Coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, the Milwaukee Bucks find themselves smack dab in the middle of a massive sports betting scandal. Stay tuned. Dan O'Donnell Show is coming back before you know it.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Cruise with an accident at 108th and National. You got another accident, 894 southbound past Greenfield. That's on the right shoulder. Northbound 4145 jammed from Watertown Plank up to Center, where you had an earlier stalled semi. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Pros, save more on what you need to get the job done right. Right now at Lowe's, get 15% off select custom entry and interior doors. Plus, save $80 on a DeWalt 20-volt Max 2 tool combo kit, now just $169. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
You've got to try the new TikTok diet.
Just ask chat. I just take blue-green algae.
Or you could trust your gut. When it comes to your health, how do you know what's right for you? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple, at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements. Not trends, your biology.
Learn more at Viome.com/know. V as in Victor, IOME.com/KNOW. And use coupon code VIOME50 to save $50 off your purchase.
Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management, a fee-only fiduciary.
Fee-only fiduciary really further separates the folks that either say fiduciary some of the time or best interests altogether. And it's not just that alone. It is, of course, everything else that we can bring to the table that this just isn't asset management. It is estate planning, tax planning, financial planning, all of it wrapped together in one transparent fee.
Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. It's true, there's nothing quite like the scent of freshly steam-cleaned, worn carpet other than a wet dog or cat's litter box. However, Flawless's customer satisfaction-driven, unprecedented growth pinched the Milwaukee metro flooring industry to the point major carpet companies are no more. We've added quality carpeting lines, becoming your true one-stop flooring shop. Flawless Flooring's New Berlin and Delafield showrooms feature virtually unheard of in the flooring industry, upfront accurate pricing, including installation on every display. Know how much carpet, LVP, or modern laminate flooring you need? You can calculate exact pricing as you shop. Want to expand your existing hardwood flooring? Flawless's employee-only craftsmen strip existing flooring, install new hardwood, then finish old and new together for a perfect, looks all original floor. Lock in purchasing power of today's dollars for money you'll earn up to 21 months from now with Flawless's no money down, zero interest financing. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com. That's FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Please be advised, you may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
I thought those were good for me.
What's healthy for one person may cause inflammation for another. So how do you know what your body actually needs? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements.
Learn more at Viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here. Spring of 1917, just 14 years after the Wright brothers' first flight, America, determined to darken the skies over Europe with 12,000 combat aircraft, set about crafting 100 million board feet of Pacific Northwest Sitka spruce lumber.
Sonny Voss here. The rest is history. American ingenuity, determination, and might rescued humanity from tyranny. Dad harnessed American ingenuity, developing the remote control, truck-mounted articulated grapple saw Cut and Go uses to safely dominate landscapes.
Grind and Go is committed to your property being eyesore and trip hazard free. Cut and Go will take down dead trees for you to parse into firewood or chip for you to spread, or we can take with us.
Plants and Go designs historic treescapes, delivers them plants in time for you to celebrate your freedom this year.
Happy 250th anniversary. A Tons of Trees movement. CutandGoTrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com.
Selling your home is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll make. Hi, this is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. If you're still considering a 6% broker, you're paying too much. We deliver full-service real estate with expert agents and a 24-year track record. Smart sellers are keeping thousands more in their pockets. You should too. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
On News World Podcast, we're celebrating America's 250th birthday.
and I asked my guests how they're spending their 4th of July. Brett Baer.
I'll be in Washington because it's a big, big day.
Jared Isaacman.
I plan to be flying an F-5 fighter jet painted in Freedom 250 colors, along with 4 other fighter jets flying over the nation's capital.
Listen to Newt's World on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Newt's World and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio FIFA World Cup update.
The knockout stage of the World Cup is well underway as round of 32 action rolls on. 5-time champ Brazil survives a scare from Japan to start the day.
Oh, and here's a chance. Martinelli! We should have won it! They've stolen it! Right in the death!
Gabriel Martinelli scores 5 minutes into stoppage time to give Brazil the 2-1 win and send them to the round of 16.
For live Fox coverage, search World Cup now on the free iHeartRadio app.
The talk shows on WISN Radio. Not for the faint of heart and not for the feeble of mind. News Talk 1130 WISN. Fact is, until you've heard us, you haven't heard the whole story.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, we have got some... I'm sorry, I'm getting a little distracted. My staff over at the Heartland Post is watching the Francesca Hong Hassan Piker live stream, and apparently now they're getting into the crazy socialist stuff. I would love to be able to dip in live, ladies and gentlemen. But we will have, of course, as soon as we can, we'll have a complete roundup. If they said anything nuts, as I assume they're going to say a bunch of nuts stuff, we will, of course, bring it to you here first on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up next hour, America is objectively the greatest place on earth. I can prove it and will do so live on the radio. Huge NBA gambling scandal that directly involves the Milwaukee Bucks. Malik Beasley, a former guard for the Bucks, has been charged with collaborating with former Minnesota Wolves teammate Ed Davis to point shave or to manipulate prop bets in the 2023-2024 season while he was with the Bucks. According to the charging documents, Beasley owed millions of dollars in gambling debts. Davis loaned him money to cover those debts, and then Beasley allegedly repaid it by manipulating his on-court performance to help a gambling group win prop bets. Several specific games were cited in that federal indictment, all in the 23-24 season, all while Beasley was a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. January 26th against the Cleveland Cavaliers, in which Beasley scored only 3 points, well below his average of 11.3 points per game that season. February 27th against the Charlotte Hornets. March 10th against the LA Clippers, and there was a whole lot of online activity. Bettors celebrated Beasley grabbing a key rebound in the final seconds to hit the over. March 21st against the Brooklyn Nets. This is where the feds got onto this scheme. Now, the group allegedly placed a whole lot of money, tens of thousands of dollars, in bets using inside information coming from both Beasley and Davis. Texts in the indictment reference beating Vegas through sports betting. Now, Beasley is, if he hasn't already, expected to surrender voluntarily this week. His attorney, Stephen Haney, said in a statement out this morning, "We will vigorously defend the charges." Beasley maintains his innocence. Beasley did sit out this entire NBA season amid the investigation, which became public about a year ago. He had signed, or was expected to sign, a major contract with the Detroit Pistons, but that didn't happen because he is obviously facing a very, very serious charges. Now, what's very interesting about the timing of this, you might remember the 23-24 season was a particularly tumultuous one for the Bucs. On January 23rd, after just not even a half of a season, the Bucs fired their head coach. 3 days later, they hired Doc Rivers. Rivers, of course, a Hall of Fame coach, a Milwaukee legend because of his stardom with the Marquette Warriors back in the day, held a press conference on the morning of January 26th in which he said, "What am I doing here? I really don't want to be here, and you're making a huge mistake. What are you all doing to me?" According to a Milwaukee Journal Sentinel article from late last week, that was the moment that he lost the locker room. In his introductory press conference that night, January 26th, the Bucs go out to play the Cleveland Cavaliers at home at Fiserv Forum, and Malik Beasley, according to this federal indictment, is shaving points. What an incredible week. By the way, his line that night, 26 minutes, 3 points, 4 fouls, and 4 turnovers. He absolutely did look like he was tanking in order to hit an under on his prop bets. Now, why this keeps happening, this is part of a much bigger problem for not just the NBA, but college basketball has been hit very hard by prop bet shaving scandals. And even Major League Baseball, which just suspended a pitcher for in-game prop bet shaving in which he was not throwing first pitch strikes. And there was an unusual amount of money being bet on this pitcher throwing a first pitch ball. But in the NBA, we have seen players like Terry Rozier and Jonte Porter, who pleaded guilty in a point shaving scheme and has since been banned for life from the NBA. Beasley has a long history of financial issues. He has faced a number of lawsuits over his debts, and he is the perfect sort of mark that the mafia, that any sort of organized sports betting conglomerate or just group of people will be able to take advantage of and say, okay, well, let's say you just fix it so that you don't grab 7 rebounds in this game against the Portland Trail Blazers. Easy enough, right? Sports betting, you might recall, was largely made illegal in 1992 by a federal law that grandfathered in Las Vegas and existing sports betting industries. But in 2018, that law was struck down by the United States Supreme Court in a decision called Murphy v. NCAA, something like that. The Murphy decision had an immediate impact. When sports betting was effectively legalized across the states, you saw total sports wagers in just 5 years jump from about $5 billion in 2017, the year before sports betting was legalized by the court, to $121 billion within 5 years by 2023. Online apps handle roughly 94% of all sports bets. Now, because those bets are coming so quickly, there is such a tremendous volume of bets, and because there is so much money being wagered on every single game, and because prop bets are so ubiquitous, because there are just so many that you're able to bet on, it's much more difficult to determine whether or not there's a shaving scandal or whether there's an unusual amount of action on some random prop bet for some random player like Malik Beasley. This is a big problem because roughly 30% of all U.S. sports bets are now props. Are not, hey, I'll take the Bucks to win by at least 5.5 over the Brooklyn Nets. No, 30% of all bets, roughly 3 in 10, are I will bet Malik Beasley to have more than 10 points. Now, the apps themselves are aggressively promoting these as in-game real-time bets. Why would they do this? Pretty obvious, all right? You bet on a game. Once the game starts, you can't bet more on that game. You can bet, okay, after halftime plus, second half, over under of 75 total points scored or something like that. But there are way more opportunities. Okay, second half points for Steph Curry, plus minus 15. You can make a ton of bets in game. So the apps, after you've already bet on a game, they can assume, hey, he's probably watching this game. Like, for example, right now, no spoilers, Germany and Paraguay are playing in the World Cup round of 32. If my app, let's say I'm betting with DraftKings, right? If I've already put a bet on Germany to win, taking them minus 250 on the money line, and let's say we're now in the second half, the app is going to send me alerts. Hey, we think you're probably already watching this game. How about you put a little more action on it and bet with this prop? Well, the more prop bets and the more action that is placed on each prop bet makes it much more difficult to find malfeasance like in the Malik Beasley case. Not only that, what we are seeing is sporting events at a much greater level than ever before tainted by corruption. I mean, it was a major scandal, right? The Chicago Black Sox allegedly throwing the 1919 World Series by, what was it, Arnold Mr. Big Rothstein was apparently the mastermind of that, the big gangster Mr. Big. They were all banned from life. Shoeless Joe Jackson is still not in Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame like 107 years later because he was banned forever. I think it was the commissioner, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, if I remember that. This is like the basis of the Field of Dreams, like trying to clear Shoeless Joe's name. Well, okay, in actuality, Shoeless Joe almost certainly did throw the 1919 World Series. Well, you got Malik Beasley in a very small way throwing Milwaukee Bucks games, or at least attempting to. If he's going to keep his scoring percentage under, say, 10, if he's going to ensure that so his bettors will make money, he's not going to score 10 points. Or maybe he's trying to ensure that the game hits the under. Doesn't that necessarily make it less likely that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to win a game? This is on a small scale. What we're seeing is the Terry Rozier scandal. We saw Chauncey Billups, who was a Hall of Fame player, and he was the coach of, I believe, was it Portland at the time? He was more into the fixed poker games where, you would go and you'd play with celebrities like Chauncey Billups or sports stars like Chauncey Billups. But he was allegedly manipulating lineups so that he wouldn't play players to ensure that they were not going to hit their over on rebounds or points or assists or whatever counting stat that people could be betting on. This is a massive, massive problem. And this comes at the exact same time that Wisconsin just voted to give a tremendous amount of power over these apps, over online sports betting to the Native American tribes, to essentially give a government-backed monopoly on sports betting to the Potawatomi and to the Ho-Chunk and to the Oneida and to the tribes that already have sports books, that already have the ability to take bets. We're, in other words, expanding sports gaming, sports gambling by allowing those apps to come in. Now, they're going to have to put their servers on the Potawatomi sportsbook property, and Potawatomi is going to take basically a 60% fee for all the profits of DraftKings and FanDuel and all of them operating here in Wisconsin for the privilege of doing so. To say nothing of the fact that a whole lot of young people are getting into a whole lot of trouble by betting way more money than they have the ability to cover. You're also seeing, because of the insane rise of online sports betting, because it is so ubiquitous, because you can do it from literally everywhere. You don't need to go to a casino and find a physical roulette wheel in order to place a bet on a sporting event. It is causing major corruption in professional and college sports that I just don't see going anywhere good. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We name the unsung hero of the day. Coming up. Stay tuned.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
894 southbound, heavy from the zoo to past Greenfield with an accident that's on the right shoulder. 43 southbound, stopping and going from Center to the Marquette. And 4145 southbound, Appleton to Capitol. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grandview Homes. Wherever the roads take you today, trust matters close to home. Every neighborhood has its own story, and Grandview Homes knows them well. Having bought thousands of houses for cash in the communities they serve, they're a buyer you can trust. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com.
The only real estate agent I trust here in Milwaukee is Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Now, thanks for joining me today. And what are some of the biggest challenges that you have had with sellers when it comes to determining the right price for their home?
Well, Sean, we deal with it every day. The biggest challenge sellers face is getting the price right. That's called emotional equity. You built memories, invested in your home. It's natural. You feel your home's worth more than the market. But buyers look at comps, condition, timing, not your feelings. Price it too high means your home sits longer, loses attention, and it will cost you thousands in the end. Work with our team. It's incredibly valuable. We balance your emotional attachment with our strategy, which attracts buyers, gets your home sold for the most money in the least amount of time.
All right. Thanks for keeping us up to date. Just go to wihomeeval.com. That's wihomeeval.com. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 700 five-star reviews.
iHeartRadio and Fox Sports are bringing you every match of the FIFA World Cup 2026
live.
Magical. Just open the free app and search World Cup. Plus, tap the highlights tab to catch up on anything you missed. Lock in your preset now.
Water running back to your foundation due to settling concrete can lead to extremely expensive foundation repairs, even mold and bacteria in your home. MudTech 262-337-0934. Call MudTech for a free estimate today.
You like your cabinets? They're in really good shape. The layout makes sense. The wood is sound, solid, and well made. Everything works. But there's a problem. You don't love your cabinets anymore. Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting. If you're thinking about having your cabinets painted, even oak, Color Wheel is the company for you. We understand you want a new look, a mini makeover. You will love your kitchen again. Maybe change the countertops, install a backsplash, get new hardware. All of this goes with the expert cabinet painting we provide. And it's at a fraction of the cost of a full remodel. Color Wheel Painting does expert cabinet painting with an unbeatable 5-year warranty. We stand by our work, no questions asked. And yes, we paint ceilings, walls, trim, that 2-story foyer, even a room or two. So call Color Wheel, tap into our network of interior designers and industry specialists. Get that beautiful kitchen now. Done right on budget at prices you can afford. Call Color Wheel Painting today. ColorWheelPainting.com.
Hi, I'm Ellen Shutt. The greatest titles God has blessed me with are daughter, wife, and now mom. But Democrats like Tony Evers are trying to erase what those words even mean. Calling mothers inseminated persons or letting biological males in girls' locker rooms isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. I'm a conservative Republican. As your senator, I'll fight to protect Wisconsin families, defend our daughters, and stand up for common sense. If you agree these values are worth fighting for, I ask for your vote on August 11th.
Soaring gas prices, higher grocery bills, and rising utility costs are squeezing Wisconsin families. As a wife and a mom, Ellen Shutt understands. In the Assembly, Ellen stood up to Democrats in the Madison establishment who were pushing higher taxes, more red tape, and efforts that could have raised your utility bills even higher.
Ellen's a conservative, Republican, and a fighter. She'll fight to get government out of the way so your family can get ahead. Vote Ellen Schutt for State Senate on August 11th.
Paid for by Ellen Schutt for State Senate.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival
Presented by Capital One
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena. Streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
Shows, meals, drinks, even a roller coaster ride. All-inclusive 2-night stay at Luxor or Excalibur, starting at $330 for two. Visit MGMResorts.com.
With just 2 Jay Weber podcasts a week, each is packed with brilliant analysis and irrepressible wit, and people are noticing. They're getting tons of downloads on the iHeart platform. Be sure to subscribe to the Jay Weber podcast on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Jay Weber podcast is presented by Creative Planning, a comprehensive wealth management approach for all elements of your financial life. Your team awaits. Find the Jay Weber podcast every Tuesday and Friday on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
We are just a couple of days away from America's 250th birthday. Really, we've been celebrating all summer here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. This week, a whole lot of special programming as we reflect on just how great this nation is and always has been. That is coming up after the top of the hour news, plus another chance for you to win $2,500 in our USA 250K giveaway. Our company is giving away $250,000 in $2,500 increments. And your next chance to win is coming up about 10 minutes from right now. Now, though, time to name the unsung heroes of the day. Today's unsung heroes, or as it were, heroines of the day, Milwaukee's Dancing Grannies. They're going to march in 2 major national parades as one of 5 groups selected to represent Wisconsin for our nation's 250th birthday. The Grannies will participate in the July 3rd parade in Philadelphia and the National Independence Day parade in Washington, D.C. as part of the nation's 250th birthday celebration. This comes just a few short years, 5 years, almost 5 years exactly, since they suffered tragedy during the Waukesha Christmas Parade. 5 members of the Dancing Grannies were among 6 people who lost their lives that day. And this week, they will be representing our state in front of the entire country and the world. Congratulations, Grannies. You are our unsung heroes of the day.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. We can't avoid it. The heat. Hanging around for a while this week, Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barcello.
We have our first excessive heat warning that continues until 7 p.m. on Tuesday. And I say first because we will likely have another excessive heat warning for Wednesday and Thursday, maybe even into Friday. Saturday's kind of on the cutoff. It might still be hot. We might more so see 80s, but regardless, the humidity is sticking around.
After firing Marty Brooks for allegedly misusing funds, downtown Milwaukee's Barrett Center has named James Cantor as its interim leader. And today, members of the Trump administration claim that many people who enrolled in Obamacare never had Social Security numbers. Fox's Ashley Webster.
More than 1 million people enrolled in Obamacare plans lack Social Security numbers. HHS Secretary RFK Jr. saying it's a glaring warning sign for fraud across the health program. Kennedy and Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz have been crusading against fraud in social spending on health care.
The Biden administration dismantled basic program integrity guardrails.
Some of these agents refuse to follow basic rules, like
providing their client's social security number.
Dr. Oz also claiming that rogue agents and other bad actors are actually enrolling unsuspected Americans into health plans that they never signed up for.
Checking the Holiday Automotive Final Act Sports Scoreboard, Robert Gasser pitches tonight for the Brewers. They're home to play the Reds from the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center. I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
This hour of the Dan O'Donnell Show is presented by Warshawski Law.
Preferred by judges, other attorneys, and law enforcement. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski Law.
Here's the latest forecast, powered by WillysWorldCustoms.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
An extreme heat warning has been extended until 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Hot tonight. The heat index will stay in the 80s all night. Partly sunny and windy on Tuesday, a high of 96 with a heat index of 108. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by America 250, Wisconsin.
America is turning 250, and Wisconsin is honoring who we are, where we've come from, and where we're going. Join the legacy by visiting wisconsinhistory.org to find an event near you. Let's make history together.
Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management, a fee-only fiduciary.
Fee-only fiduciary who really further separates the folks that either say fiduciary some of the time or best interest altogether. And it's not just that alone. It is, of course, everything else that we can bring to the table that this just isn't asset management. It is estate planning, tax planning, financial planning, all of it wrapped together in one transparent fee.
Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Click the Get Started button at AnnexWealth.com.
Selling a home is a big decision. Hi, this is Paul Levy with Lake Country Flat Fee. For 24 years, our team has helped families across Southeast Wisconsin sell with confidence while keeping more of their hard-earned equity. We offer full-service real estate with no surprises, no pressure, just honest guidance from experienced professionals. It's real service at a fair price. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Everyone walks through seasons of uncertainty, but you don't have to walk through them alone. At intouch.org, you'll find messages of hope, biblical truth, and encouragement from Dr. Charles Stanley, available anytime you need it. Dive into devotionals, watch sermons, or explore resources that help you draw closer to God day by day. When you're ready to refocus your heart and renew your faith, visit intouch.org. It may be exactly what your soul needs today.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Conservative thought, not just talk.
No talking points, just in-depth analysis and exclusive investigation.
The Dan O'Donnell Show, weekday afternoons 3 to 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Co-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. I'm Certified Financial Planner John White with your closing business report. The major averages climbed higher to kick off the shortened holiday week as investors assessed reports that the United States and Iran had agreed to stop the attacks that broke out over the weekend, enabling peace talks to continue. And shares of Charter Communications jumped 9% following a report that the company and SpaceX have been holding exclusive talks on a consumer phone product. Charter could run some of SpaceX's consumer mobile phone traffic through its ground internet infrastructure. On the day, the Dow was up 306 points to close at 52,182. The S&P 500 is up 86 points, and the NASDAQ is up 522 points. From Creative Planning, I'm John White.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
77 years ago,
I am a real American. Ask not what your country can do for you. Fight for the rights of every man. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. I am a real American. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon. Fight for the rights of every man. We will make America proud again. I am a real American. We will make America safe again. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. And we will make America great again.
Oh, still goosebumps. Goosebumps every single time. Yes, we are. For those wondering, we are going to use that special open all week long as we celebrate America's 250th birthday. Specialty programming marking just how great we are as a nation. And of course, your chance to win $2,500 each and every 5 o'clock hour from now until this Friday, Saturday, of course, the big day, America's 250th birthday, July 4th, 2026. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. If you'd like to join us, 414-799-1130 on the Carpetland USA Flooring Center talk and text line. You can always email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook, Instagram. We are streaming live on YouTube, across social media, pretty much everywhere. Watch the show via the Dan O'Cam, and please do like and subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, 250K USA giveaway. Nationwide keyword this hour is America. You've got until 5:55 to go to our website and enter the keyword America to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, $2,500 in your pocket. AMERICA. America is your keyword this hour. Best of luck and happy Independence Day. Jared Isaacman, who is the administrator of NASA on Fox and Friends this morning, asked about his reflection on America's 250th birthday.
To me, I think this is about past, present, and future. All that America accomplished during a time period that we knew absolutely nothing about this domain at all, and yet set out to achieve grand, big, bold endeavors that no one thought was possible. The present, President Trump kicked off the Artemis program during his first term. Now here we are in business, sending the big rockets around the moon again. And then the future. What's the future? We're returning to the moon to stay. We're building a base on the moon where we are going to prepare for where we go next, which is right back to President Trump's inauguration speech, where Americans will plant the flag on Mars someday.
And in fact, does anyone have any doubt that it will be America that plants its flag on Mars first? Of course not. We were the ones who planted our flag on the moon. In fact, we were the nation that dominated space and has dominated space ever since. Our satellites, our weaponization of the final frontier is unmatched. It's unparalleled. In fact, the domination of space, the domination of exploration more generally, is sort of a way that America has over the past half century asserted its global dominance, but it isn't the only way. Look, folks, last week, the country was reeling somewhat by the sudden and rather unexpected rise, the quick rise. I think people always assumed that socialism, open, America-hating communist socialism, was on the ascendancy, and you were going to see communists win significant victories in place. There is an area of New York City that is actually called the Commie Corridor for that exact reason, because you have got radical left socialists. So it's not really much of a surprise that you see radical left socialist candidates meet the demand of their radical left socialist voters. But the speed at which this happened was something that I think caught a lot of people off guard. Okay, yes, this is going to be something when the millennials get a little older, or maybe when Generation Z comes to its own politically, we're going to see the rise of the America-hating left. The reality is, and we've been discussing this on the program for the better part of 2 weeks now, the American-hating left has always been here. Now it's just far more radicalized and far more open about just how openly hostile to capitalism, the American ideal, and America itself this movement really is. So we're seeing things like 10 different states refuse to take part in the Great American State Fair, which was supposed to be a celebration of all the states coming together and showcasing their best on the National Mall for hundreds of thousands of people to come. Well, the lefties, the America-hating socialist crazies are so out there in terms of their hatred for President Trump that not only are they refusing to attend the Great American State Fair, they basically threatened and bullied every musical act out of it, that they're now celebrating the fact that, at least according to them, it's sparsely attended. I think a lot of the pictures and videos coming out of this are sort of proving them wrong, but they're trying to make this so that it's a failure of President Trump. In fact, there was an article last week. I could not believe this. There was an article last week about how Democrats are struggling with how great the FIFA World Cup has been. Just how incredible this tournament has been. People are saying that this across the globe, they're saying this is the best World Cup they've ever attended. It is so smooth. It is so easy. Everybody who's coming to America is loving it. Big article in Politico last week. Democrats are grappling with the success of the World Cup because they wanted it to be a massive failure that they could pin on President Trump. They really are rooting for America to fail. They really are rooting for America to be taken down a peg. And it's not even necessarily just because they don't like President Trump. It's because a whole lot of people on the political left really don't like this country. They don't think it's the greatest place on earth. They think it's one nation among many. What did Barack Obama famously say nearly a generation ago? Yes, I believe in American exceptionalism, just as I'm sure the Japanese believe in Japanese exceptionalism, or the Brits believe in British exceptionalism. Well, no, there's something a little different about American exceptionalism, and that is the reality that this country really is the single best place on earth. And this isn't just boasting of a proud American patriot, someone who is admittedly biased in his pro-American sentiment. No, America really is the best country on earth, and I can objectively prove it. Think about it this way. Our economy is easily, and I mean easily, the world's largest. Do you believe that America accounts for roughly a quarter of the entire world's total economic output? A quarter. We have in this country the most big businesses in the world, but also the most small businesses. We have the most startups of anywhere on earth. In fact, so many people are successful here. We have 23.8 million millionaires in the United States. To put that into some perspective, if our millionaires were their own separate country, that would be the 47th largest country on earth, just populated by American millionaires. And Americans aren't selfish with our money. Our billionaires, our millionaires, they're not just hoarding it. America leads the world in charitable giving by a huge margin. We lead in both total dollars given every single year and in donations per capita, meaning how many donations and how many dollars are given per person. America is kind as well as intelligent. We have more of the top universities in the world than any place else by a factor of about 10. We also have more than 400 Nobel Prizes, far more than any other country. And most of those Nobel Prizes aren't in literature or aren't in peace, although we do lead the world in those as well. We lead the world in Nobel Prizes for chemistry, Nobel Prizes for medicine, total Nobel Prizes. America leads the way, and it's not even close. We also lead the world in scientific research and development in terms of total dollars spent and among total technological breakthroughs, because we also lead the world in technology patents. We also lead the world in major research publications. Basically, if there's a major scientific breakthrough, you can pretty much just assume that it's been made in the United States. We are the world's top investor in space exploration. We're the top investor in satellite technology. We have the world's largest, strongest, and most technologically advanced military. And as the last 6 months have shown, it's not particularly close. Athletically, we have more Olympic gold medals and more total medals than any other nation. Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics combined, we dominate. Our professional sports leagues are by far the best in the world. Our college sports are unmatched anywhere. Athletes from across the globe try desperately to come play here. Baseball, basketball, American football, even the world's game, soccer. The top player in the world, Lionel Messi, wanted to come to the United States. Culturally, American movies dominate global theaters. American music is played everywhere. American books are required reading in schools across the globe, and American television shows and American plays are reproduced and performed everywhere. Culturally, athletically, intellectually, militarily, economically, in every area on which countries can be compared, America leads the world. And in almost every category, there really is no close second. And the rest of the world proves American greatness constantly, because for the past century plus, there has been no country on earth that people have tried to move to more than America. The rest of the world wants to be here. The rest of the world wants to be us. And really, there's no greater testament to America's greatness than that. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back in just a second.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Eastbound 94 slowing in Waukesha County from Highway 16 to past Highway F. Then at the Zoo interchange, you got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. Westbound delays on 94 jammed from 25th over to Hawley. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
Join the America 250 celebration at the Lynch family of dealerships. Shop the best deals of the year. Plus, purchase any vehicle and receive a $250 gas card. Celebrate America 250 and save today at shoplynch.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Feel like you can't lose the weight making you feel lethargic, slow, tired, and old? Hospitalized Medicine's motivated by profit solution is drugs. Everyone, including prescribers, know have very dangerous, life-altering side effects. After 34 years practicing natural medicine, Total Health can tell you it isn't your willpower. It's fat loss resistance, often slowly built up over decades, and you can overcome it naturally. Total Health's Rapid Reset will reset your body's access to fat. Years of stress, yo-yo dieting, surgery, even menopause inflame the hypothalamus and pituitary, your body's master hormone regulators. Rather than burning stored fat, your body utilizes essential reserves. Total Health's Rapid Reset, a science-based protocol, reduces hypothalamic inflammation, rebalances insulin and leptin, restoring your body's natural system of storing energy for future use, then actually burning fat for energy. A 20-pound reduction in trapped fat in the first month is a common result. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Freedom is carried forward. It's a right protected by the people. Celebrate our 250 years of freedom safely. If you see something, say something. Report suspicious behavior to local authorities. The right to celebrate, the duty to stay alert.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Wisconsin. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Before you ask, yes, that list is going to be written out with every single citation that I have. I try to do a version of this pretty much every year just to remind people how great America is. Not was, not theoretically can be, but is. How much we dominate the nation or dominate the world. Objectively, in every metric that you can rank the nations, we rank number one. And in fact, in quality of life, this is the one that I always laugh at, where it's like, well, America's quality of life, it pales in comparison to Norway. Do you know how many people live in Norway? Just take a wild guess. Just take a wild guess. Do you think there are more people or fewer people in the state of Wisconsin than in Norway? There are more people in Wisconsin than who live in Norway. It's close, but I believe Wisconsin's about 5.8 million. Norway's about 5.6 million. So, yeah, Norway, which is a petrostate, it is insanely wealthy with oil money. The quote unquote quality of life for all people. You have 300 million Norwegians. Take it a wild guess. They're not going to live nearly as well as 300 million Americans. You take one reasonably sized state, you dump a bunch of oil money into it. Yes, obviously it's going to be, but in terms of the, ability of everyday Norwegians to purchase anything and everything, no comparison. Want me to prove it to you? Want me to prove that the average American lives better than the average Norwegian? And by the way, we were just in Norway last year, a wonderful country. I could not possibly recommend Norway highly enough. The people are insanely friendly. The country is beautiful. It is a fantastic place. But to compare it in any meaningful way to the United States, I can prove America is a better country than Norway in 2 words. 2 words. That's all it's going to take. Want me to do it? Ready? 2 words. Here we go. Air conditioning. No, I'm serious. Air conditioning. Our poorest people in this country are far more likely to have air conditioning than your average Norwegian. Do you realize tens of thousands of people across Europe die every single year, and Europe doesn't get anywhere near as hot as, say, Wisconsin is this week? We've got that extreme heat warning, I believe, pretty much through the rest of the week. Feels like temperature is going to be about 105, 110 degrees. I was out mowing the lawn this morning, and this was before the heat really set in, and it was a hot one, let me tell you that. European summers don't get anywhere near as hot as ours, and tens of thousands of people die because they don't have access to central air. We do. But in a larger, broader sense, the thing that absolutely gets me, and this is something that leftists will undoubtedly say is not a testament to American greatness. We have by far the most billionaires on earth. We have about 989, I believe at last count, 989 billionaires. We have one trillionaire. He's a South African, but he is 100% American. He loves this country more than anyone and anything, it seems. Elon Musk. We lead the world in trillionaires and billionaires, but it's millionaires that really sets us apart. Yes, we obviously have the super rich. Having $1 million, not $1 million liquid, i.e. $1 million in cash, but having $1 million in assets is no longer, because of inflation, the massive testament to unfathomable wealth. Being a millionaire does not mean nearly as much. Now, the general consensus is you probably need about $1 million in assets to comfortably retire, because the retirement age has not really gone up all that much, but the average age has gone up significantly. There are nearly 24 million millionaires in the United States. All of our millionaires, if they started their own country, would be the 47th largest country on earth. We would have more people than Norway, Sweden, Ireland, and Denmark, I believe, combined. Total population of Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Ireland, I believe it's combined total people. We have more millionaires in the United States. These aren't people born with silver spoons in their mouth. These are people, by and large, who started, a heating and AC business that you actually can make money off of in the United States, as opposed to somewhere in Europe where, because of climate regulations, you can't have literally life-saving technology. Intellectually, athletically, Olympic medals. My producer, Doug, and I were arguing about, that even the soccer leagues. Well, yes, okay, nobody's going to deny the top soccer league in the world is the Premier League in England. La Liga, sure, in Spain. That's Barcelona and Real Madrid. La Liga is two teams. The Prem, you've got the big six, usually 8 to 10 teams out of the 20 in the Premier League have a legitimate shot of winning. So, okay, soccer, whatevs. Here's the thing about soccer, though. The only reason America isn't the dominant force in soccer is because all of our top athletes go to football, basketball, and baseball, because the top leagues are here in the United States, and there's such an incredible financial reward in terms of fame and fortune alike. You see in the person of Alex Freeman what America would be like if our top athletes went to soccer instead of football. Alex Freeman is the son of Green Bay Packers great wide receiver Antonio Freeman. Could you imagine if, say, our top wide receivers in the NFL were all soccer players? Good luck keeping up with Tyreek Hill when he's got the ball at his feet, random Romanian defender. Do you really think anybody is going to be able to keep up with the size and speed of Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on the soccer pitch? Of course not. But the point is that in terms of the games that America plays, those are the games that get exported to the rest of the world. Soccer is the world's game, to be sure, but is there a more uniquely American game than basketball? I mean, you actually can trace. In baseball, it's all right. Abner Doubleday probably did not invent baseball. But basketball really can be traced to Dr. James Naismith and Springfield, Massachusetts, putting up the old peach baskets in the gym. American football. Yes, it sort of evolved from earlier games, but it's a uniquely American game. And look at how people, wherever the NFL goes, love it. The only reason American football hasn't taken over is because there's such a heavy bar. It costs so much for the equipment, and it's sort of difficult to learn. But really, it's the cost bar that the world isn't playing it. Basketball, though, all you need is a hoop. All you need is a ball. The world loves it. In every sphere, America is just the dominant nation. But wouldn't you know it, there are a whole lot of people here who really don't even like flying the flag. NBC News dives into how many Americans say the Stars and Stripes is now a red flag. That's right. Flying the red, white, and blue is a red flag to liberal Americans. We will dive into that nonsense when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Eastbound 94, slowing in Waukesha County from Highway 16 to past Highway F. Then at the Zoo interchange, you got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. Westbound delays on 94, jammed from 25th over to Hawley. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. The red, white, and blue sale is on at Grand Appliance. Save up to $200 on an Electrolux laundry pair exclusively at Grand Appliance. Shop grandappliance.com or a showroom near you today. That's Grand Appliance. Appliance experts since 1930.
Retirement planning doesn't have to be complicated or overwhelming. Tune in to the Retirement Clinic every Saturday morning at 10 and join Jeff and Aaron Kowal from Creative Planning as they dive into the latest retirement news, break down investment and planning strategies, and answer the questions you're already asking. The Retirement Clinic, every Saturday at 10 with Jeff and Aaron Kowal from Creative Planning. Clear and informative discussions about your retirement on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here.
A tree planted in 1646 was instrumental to freedom you enjoy today.
For a decade, Sons of Liberty, including Paul Revere, Samuel Adams, and John Hancock, gathered under the Liberty Tree for meetings, speeches, and celebrations.
I'm Willow Voss. Makes me wonder what the historical significance trees Plant and Go plants might have hundreds of years from now.
If our oppressors didn't cut the Liberty Tree down, Cut and Go would meticulously manicure it for America's 250th anniversary. Cut and Go's remote-controlled, truck-mounted, articulated grapple saw operators will meticulously manicure your trees, removing damaged branches, limbs, even whole trees, getting your property ready to celebrate God's gift, America. Grind and Go removes eyesore, trip hazard stumps, and Plant and Go will implement a maximum beauty and benefit new, potentially historic tree planting plan.
Happy 250th anniversary, a Tons of Trees movement. CUTNGOtrees.com. That's cutandgotrees.com.
Lifting your kids, typing your next big idea, squeezing it around a golf. You use your shoulders, elbows, wrists, and hands to do it all. But when pain slows you down, the specialists at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin are here to help. If you've reached your limit, if you're tired of the pain, if you want to change, your first call should be to the team at OAW to see what in the world is going on. It'll be the best decision you've ever made. Their fellowship-trained upper extremity surgeons treat shoulder, elbow, wrist, and hand issues with compassionate care, advanced techniques, and a focus on lasting recovery. Whether you're an athlete, a worker, or just want to enjoy a day without pain, start with a team that puts patients first. Their expert upper extremity surgeons offer personalized treatment plans to restore your strength and movement. All the information that you need to book your appointment can be found at orthowisconsin.com. That's orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
You like your cabinets. They're in really good shape. The layout makes sense. The wood is sound, solid, and well made. Everything works. But there's a problem. You don't love your cabinets anymore. Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting. If you're thinking about having your cabinets painted, even oak, Color Wheel is the company for you. We understand you want a new look, a mini makeover. You will love your kitchen again. Maybe change the countertops, install a backsplash, get new hardware. All of this goes with the expert cabinet painting we provide. And it's at a fraction of the cost of a full remodel.
Color Wheel Painting does expert cabinet painting with an unbeatable 5-year warranty. We stand by our work, no questions asked. And yes, we paint ceilings, walls, trim, that 2-story foyer, even a room or two. So call Color Wheel, tap into our network of interior designers and industry specialists. Get that beautiful kitchen now. Done right on budget at prices you can afford. Call Color Wheel Painting today. ColorWheelPainting.com.
For years, Wisconsin conservatives could count on one man. Steve Noss stood strong when the Madison Swamp wanted to grow government, raise costs, or sell out taxpayers. Now, Steve Noss is retiring, and losing his voice could be catastrophic if we don't replace him with the right person. Ellen Schutt is the right person, the right conservative to send to the state Senate. Politicians talk about fighting the establishment. Ellen Schutt did it. In the Assembly, Ellen opposed a plan for Madison insiders and special interests that could have driven energy costs even higher for Wisconsin families. She fought for lower taxes, backed law enforcement, defended conservative values, and worked to protect Wisconsin farmers. She's pro-life, pro-gun, and pro-family. Politicians like to talk the talk. Ellen Schutt has fought the fight for our conservative values. She doesn't answer to the swamp. She answers to you. On August 11th, vote Republican Ellen Schutt for state Senate, the proven conservative Wisconsin can trust.
Paid for by Ellen Schutt for state Senate.
iHeartRadio FIFA World Cup update.
The knockout stage of the World Cup is well underway as round of 32 action rolls on. 5-time champ Brazil survives a scare from Japan to start the day.
Oh, and here's a touch. Martinelli! We should have won it! They've stolen it! Right in the deck!
Gabriel Martinelli scores 5 minutes into stoppage time to give Brazil the 2-1 win and send them to the round of 16.
For live Fox coverage, search World Cup now on the free iHeartRadio app.
From Wisconsin to the world and everywhere in between, the Mark Belling Podcast, my take on everything. Season 2 is underway. New episodes drop Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday on iHeart or wherever you get your podcasts.
So, who doesn't believe that America is the greatest place on earth? Probably the people that NBC News' Corky Simashko, that is a real name, interviewed, that say they don't want to fly the American flag this 4th of July. The story, NBCnews.com, as a nation turns 250, many Americans say the Stars and Stripes is now a red flag, the American flag. To some, it's old glory. To others, it's a MAGA hat on a stick. Can we talk about the extreme mental illness of people who tie everything in life back to Donald Trump? That's got to be some form of unhealthy obsession. Truly. How are you unable to enjoy things because it might be quote unquote Trump coded? Like, I want you to, I know there's a certain percentage of libs who are listening to me right now. Just detach. Just relax. Trump is not going to get you. You can go out. You can go to your local 4th of July parade, and it is not going to be supporting Trump. I promise you, it'll be okay. You can go to your neighbor's pool party and you can have fun, and you can even wear an American flag swimsuit, and nobody will think you suddenly support Trump, primarily because you are so unhinged and obsessed. You will say repeatedly, just because I'm wearing an American flag swimsuit, that doesn't mean that I like Trump. Here is the story from Corky Simashko. To fly or not to fly an American flag? That was never a question for Bruce Watson, who has put up his national pride on display for years and nudges neighbors in his small New England town to do the same. I'm very proud of our flag, the writer said. It's the symbol of we the people. But as the polarized nation marks its 250th birthday, Watson, 72, worries his Stars and Stripes may now need an asterisk. If we do fly the flag, we will also put out signs to make it clear that we are not MAGA, he said. Again, ladies and gentlemen, may I interject? Bruce Watson, 72 years old, proving once again that the boomer libs are the single most cringe creatures that have ever walked the earth. I say ever. More cringe than even like the dumbest dinosaur. These dinosaurs are absolutely the most cringe. He's going to put out a sign that says, yes, I am flying the flag. But you know what he's actually saying? Please, unhinged lefties, do not deface this house. Do not vandalize my home. The American flag is a symbol striped with many meanings, whether it's hung on front porches, waved in parades, protests, and World Cup matches, or stamped on lapel pins and boxing trunks. Like so much else in American life, it has also been tangled up in politics and the policies of President Donald Trump. No, actually, it hasn't. It really hasn't. Folks, I don't even know what to say to a political movement that has abdicated the American flag to its opponents. Like Democrats, you're just fine with the idea that you are so anti-American that the flag, the literal symbol of America, is now associated with your opponent. NBC News asked readers to share their feelings and practices around the flag in a moment. Polls suggest when patriotism, national pride, and optimism for the country's future are all fraying. Like Watson, some say the flag can be taken as an endorsement of the current administration. For others, it isn't tied to any one party, but is a way of life. Rather than not fly the flag, several readers said they plan to show their patriotism and protest Trump by flying it upside down to signal that the country is in distress. Here we go. Another boomer lib. Folks, I'm telling you, it does not get more cringe. Just no, boomers, you're fine. Libs, you're nuts, but you're fine. If you're a boomer lib, you are the most cringe person on planet. You are more cringe than Francesca Hong fangirling on the Hassan Piker live stream. Like Franny Hong saying she's going to make out with Hassan Piker because Piker just said he was going to murder a bunch of capitalists. That is less cringe than Donna Bannock, 61, lives outside Des Moines, Iowa, and says, Donald Trump has turned everything upside down, so it makes sense our flag should be upside down. It's a shame. We used to be a proud nation. Now our country is in distress. Does not get more cringe than that. How about this? Rather than fly the Stars and Stripes, Master Sergeant Frank Chappell of the Air National Guard has gone with an alternative flag. Part of what makes us Americans, he says, is that we can meet in the middle. We can come together in the center and find things we can all agree on. But what Trump has been doing through some of his rhetoric and policies is driving a wedge between Americans, dividing us even further. So when I bought my home, I replaced the U.S. flag with the state flag of Pennsylvania. Okay. I guess that's fine. Erin Beltel, 22, who lives outside Philadelphia with her parents, said her father will be flying the American flag. But if it were up to me and my mom, she said, we'd be flying the pride flag or the Philadelphia Eagles flag instead. I love our country, but I'm not feeling very proud of our country right now. A Rhode Island teacher who asked not to be identified to protect her family, said she too is flying alternate flags, the rainbow pride flag and the banner of her beloved New England Patriots. I was always patriotic, flew the flag, wore red, white, and blue with flags, and fireworks all summer, she said. Now I've watched Trump and MAGA turn the flag into a symbol of intolerance and hate. The teacher said she hasn't flown the flag since 2024 when Trump was elected for a second term. I have a gay son and a trans... Of course she does. I have a gay son and a trans son and felt that the flag was now a symbol flown by people who don't want my children to exist, she said. The American flag, folks. The American flag. Some readers said they were motivated by peer pressure more than patriotism. A woman from Newtown, Pennsylvania, who also asked to remain anonymous, said, I display my flag outside my home mainly because everyone else around my neighborhood does it, even though I'm not 100% proud to be an American. I feel that if I don't have a flag displayed somewhere, people will think I'm against our country or something. Then there were readers like Rebecca Dyer, a mother of 5 who lives outside Salt Lake City, who said she flies the flag no matter who occupies the White House or how disappointed she may feel about the state of the union. I just want to say I love our flag. I love our country. And I want people to realize this is not about one party or one person, Dyer 38 said. Yes, the last few years have been hard, and sometimes it feels like our flag has been taken over. But I'm flying the flag because I'm still proud of our country, even if it's not where I think it should be 250 years after it was founded. Oh, my God, it took 20 paragraphs, but NBC News found a sane human being. They found a rational person who can say, hey, you know what? I don't totally love what's going on in this country. You know what? I didn't like the fact that for 4 years, we didn't actually have a president. We had a senile old guy who was being taken advantage of, and the office of the presidency was actually usurped by a nameless, faceless cabal of 30 and 40-something they-thems who are actually wielding the power of the presidency in Joe Biden's stead. Guess what? I was still getting dressed up every 4th of July. I believe I dressed up as, I want to say Abe Lincoln. One year I was Hamilton from the musical Hamilton. One year I did, I did Uncle Sam. I have a nice red, white, and blue suit. I fly the flag regardless throughout the Obama years. Hell, when I was a kid, throughout the Bill Clinton years. Why? Because this country is way more than its government, and it is way more than any individual president. Did you know, this is a fun fact that is going to absolutely blow your minds. Did you know that we elect presidents every 4 years and that no president can actually serve more than 2 terms or 8 years? Yes, I know. It's weird. A Democrat actually tried to serve as president for life, but we amended the Constitution so that that couldn't happen again. If you don't like your government, change it. That's kind of the motto of the United States. Democrats, though, I firmly believe lack the ability to think beyond the immediate, and also lack the ability to compartmentalize. You don't like Trump. We get it. We get it. Everything is about Trump. You are obsessed with Trump. Chances are all of the people who know you in real life and love you, they are sick to death. They are worried about your single-minded obsession with Donald Trump. The rest of us, normies, normal Americans, we can say, yeah, you know what? I don't particularly like some of the stuff Trump does. You know what? I'm a big Trump supporter. Didn't particularly care for Liberation Day or all of the tariffs. I thought the economy would be going gangbusters and we could have tried to get fairer trade deals without going to the mattresses, as it were, and to try to levy insane, and what the Supreme Court found, I think correctly, largely unconstitutional embargoes and tariffs that weren't approved by Congress. We can get all of this without tariffs. Guess what, though? That didn't change what I think about this country. And this is what I think nobody quite wants to admit. Now, the boomer libs, they have been protesting against the evil of America since Richard Nixon. And at some point, boomer libs, please, I need you to answer me. Who is the worst Hitler president? Was it Nixon? Was it Reagan? Was it H.W. Bush? Was it W. Bush? Or was it Trump? Because every single Republican president is the worst, is going to end the old republic, is going to end democracy, and is in reality a neo-Hitler. Which one is it? Which one was the worst Hitler? Is it just the current guy? Because we had one boomer lib who said the last great Republican, the only Republican president that was not a Hitler-like figure was Dwight D. Eisenhower. But the president when you were, what, 5? That's unhinged behavior. It also sort of reveals you to have like the political acumen of about a 5-year-old. Everyone I don't like is Hitler. No ability to actually objectively measure American policy or to separate the feelings for this country with the feelings that one has for its current leadership. It is absolutely unreal, this article. We can't fly. I need to put out a sign assuring people that just because I am flying the literal symbol of all of us, of all 340 million people who live in this country, who call ourselves Americans, I need to put up a little sign that says, yeah, you know what, I'm flying this flag, but I don't really like Trump. That is mental illness. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back to wrap things up when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns. Stay tuned.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
43 southbound slows Good Hope to Bender. Then you got a crash off to the left shoulder at Fond du Lac. A little heavier over on 4145 southbound starting at Appleton, clearing up after Capitol. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Major League Baseball.
MLB Star Spangled Sunday presented by Ford. Catch the Mets and Braves on NBC at noon Eastern. Plus every MLB game streaming live on Peacock. Baseball for the people. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Drew Wilson here for the doctors and teams at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Your arms do more than you think until they can't. Whether it's shoulder pain, tennis elbow, or carpal tunnel, OAW has the specialized upper extremity care to help you get back to doing what you love. Regain your reach, regain your life without pain that limits your motion. Don't wait. Schedule today at orthowisconsin.com. That's orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
Years of early mornings, every weekend, every holiday, all for one dream, to play on the LPGA Tour. She finally turned pro. Now, she just needs a stage worthy of her talent. Next Golf is that stage, a professional women's tour in Florida built to give these athletes the runway they've earned. Support her journey at nextgolf.com/support. That's nxxtgolf.com. Play it forward.
Freedom is carried forward. It's a right protected by the people. Celebrate our 250 years of freedom safely. If you see something, say something. Report suspicious behavior to local authorities. The right to celebrate, the duty to stay alert.
Here's why. Injured? It is about the money. I'm attorney Victor Harding of Warshevsky. If you're injured, the Warshevsky personal injury firm will make the defendants pay your damages and compensate your loss for the rest of your life. Some very well-known advertising lawyers are afraid to go to trial. They can hang out with football players and put on a brave face, but the insurance companies know when they have a patsy. Make no mistake, who your attorney is can have a greater impact on the result of your personal injury case than even the facts of your case. I vow Warshevsky will prepare to win your case at trial from the moment we take the case. Warshevsky will see to it that your interests are protected now and for the rest of your life. I measure Warshevsky's accomplishments in the hundreds of successful outcomes and judgments that were so punitive to wrongdoers, whole industries have changed the way they do business. Injured? It is about the money. Warshevsky.com, 414-276-4970.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental car is included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-690-8974. 800-690-8974.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
Presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena. Streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
It's going to be one wild weekend. Are you ready? Brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile, proud partner of the 2026 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Get that This Is My Song feeling only at Metro.
My radio show was very popular, but the Jay Weber podcast is turning out to be some of my best and most insightful work. This is really good stuff. Twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Find it on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Jay Weber podcast is presented by Creative Planning, a comprehensive wealth management approach for all elements of your financial life. Your team awaits. Find the Jay Weber podcast every Tuesday and Friday on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Show summaries, podcasts, political tidbits, and the hottest photo galleries in radio. All available to you whenever you demand them at newstalk1130.com.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Just a couple of minutes left. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is from a few days ago. Democrats grapple uncomfortably with World Cup success. Big article in Politico. The World Cup has been a phenomenal success. People are just absolutely loving the World Cup in the United States. Democrats can't handle it. The triumph of the World Cup's first 2 weeks, boosting the U.S.'s global reputation with sold-out stadiums and few logistical complications, has forced Democrats who had criticized President Donald Trump's role in preparations to grudgingly reconsider. I think that there was a little bit of liberal wish casting that this would maybe be a disaster to sort of stick it to Trump, said Rob Flaherty, the digital Democratic strategist and soccer fan who attended the U.S. group stage match with Australia. It hasn't yet been. They want it to be. Flaherty, you could hear, it hasn't yet been. It could still, everything could still be terrible. We might still get a defeat for Donald Trump, which would be a defeat for America. Folks, I was at the World Cup match. I was off a couple of days last week because I took the kids to the USA-Turkey World Cup match. And yes, the ending of it was awful. I absolutely believe the U.S. got screwed out of a tie because A, a player was offside when he scored a goal. B, they had way more time than they should have, but the experience was incredible. Los Angeles, believe it or not, had their traffic in check. It was easy to get to the stadium. It was logistically spectacular. Security was a breeze. We got there early enough. We were able to hang out at the fan festival, watch the pregame show on Fox live, being recorded live in front of us. I mean, it was an incredible time. LA was just alive. There was World Cup stuff to do. It was an incredible success. Now, just imagine you have got a whole lot of people who are upset about that, who are angry about that because they don't want America to succeed because it would be seen as a victory for Trump. All right, we are out of time. More celebrations of America, more of the Dan O'Donnell Show, 3:06 tomorrow. Have a great night, Wisconsin. Stay cool.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management